What is up, gamers? My name is Ardog with the Triple G's, and we are so back here at the Prime Championship Circuit All-Stars Event. This is our first ever All-Stars event. I hope you were all just as excited as I am to watch some banger games played by extraordinary players. You voted for who you think are the best in each role, and we've heard you loud and clear. We've only got the best players to join us here at the PCC. Let's first introduce our favorite statistics enthusiast, one of the best analysts and coaches in the game, Mugiwawa. How's it going?
Well, it's doing fantastic. Like you said, first All-Star event. I'm quite happy to be there for that match, and that's gonna be like a good time.
Hold on. Sorry. I cannot hear. Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. I didn't hear Mugi for some reason, but now, of course, we must address the elephant in the room. Let's welcome the champion of the people, the CEO of Omeda Studios, and now YouTube vlogger, RGSAs. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Thank you guys for having me. I'm super excited.
Me too. I hope you all are excited in the chat. Today on the schedule, we're watching a best of 3 between 2 all-star teams and then a best of 1 game with the PCC crew versus with the winning all-star team. But let's make this an unforgettable event. Grab your popcorn. Let's celebrate and honor these incredible players who play with skill, passion, and so much dedication to the game. It's time to determine once and for all who from each role is better than the other. All of these players have put in so much time and so much hours to get this good. But we have to know who's actually playing. Robbie and Mugi, which players are playing today?
Well, we're gonna have on Team Down, on the offlane, we're gonna have Lauber, in the jungle Grati, in the mid lane Happy Picker, on the carry role Jay, and on the support Toasty. So, a lot of good players there.
Yeah, and on the Dusk side, we have Tekken Kid, Sai, Lakeinator, Crazy Fool, and Mav. So I'm really excited.
Do you have any predictions on who you think will win, or who do you want to win?
Well, I would say I kind of want to Team Dawn to win because, in a sense, I love what D-Lab is providing to the scene, and I feel like with 3 players of D-Lab on one side and Lakeinator on the other side, if Team Dusk end up winning with Lakeinator, Egonator is gonna be so big that I fear for the longevity of D-Lab in the long run. So I really wish like Team Dawn is gonna win.
I think I'm going to keep it neutral. I'm rooting for both teams.
Oh, you can't. Oh, he's too fair. He's too fair. I guess that leaves me. So Mugi went for Dawn. Is that correct? Mugi, you went for Dawn?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, fine. Then I will go for Dusk since Robbie wants to be the neutral person here. I'm gonna root for Team Dusk. I want to see Tekken Kid, Sai, Lakeinator, Crazy Fool, and Mav pop off. Sai and Mav are on the same team and have been playing together for multiple PCCs now, so they have that harmony and chemistry between the jungler and the mid lane, so I think they're gonna pop off here. But I do believe the draft is ready, so let's head on over and see the draft. So as we're waiting to see what's going to pop up here, Zinx is allowed in this tournament. How do we feel about her first time appearance in the PCC?
Well, Zinx have made a name for herself. It's a very interesting support, a very strong one that allows you to play like very aggressive in the lane, but then when you get later in the team fight, it kind of transitions into a more like backline unsheltered type of role. So I love that duality for the picks, but definitely in terms of like strengths, it's definitely up there. So if it's available, I expect it to be picked. As we can see that the first ban is actually Rictor being removed from the plate, which is a ban that we don't usually see that early in the draft.
Yeah, I think I'm really interested to see some Zinx play ever since she came out. I think she's been a little bit strong, but very fun. The Richter ban is interesting, although I don't know about you guys, but when I'm laning against a Richter support that's really good, I just like, it's really frustrating. So maybe that's why.
And now we're seeing the Sevarog ban on the other side. We know that Team Dusk is probably targeting Lauber here. We know Lauber loves playing his Sevarog. We saw him constantly playing that in the off lane. And so that's going to be the first ban coming out from Team Dusk. On Team Dawn though, going back to that Richter, that's probably going to be a target towards Crazy Fool. Because that guy, if you've seen his hooks, he just lands them. I know he's talked about how he's like, he kind of practices it in the practice mode, and he just kind of drags that steel around with the hook. But there's that first pick from Team Dawn.
And that's going to be the Argus being secured. Of course, in the first pick, we kind of love to have flexibility. Argus can be played on the support role, can be played on the mid lane, so you keep those options open. Talking about the Richter, I think you're completely spot on the Crazy Fool targeting. And also, I think like when you play with a dual lane that is not like used to play together, naturally we have Toasty and Jay that they're like, they know each other, but they never really played in a team together. So reacting correctly to a Richter hook like will be even harder. That's usually like Toasty and the connector would be like pretty safe. They just go in and they punish the Richter on the hook. But here it might be a little bit more complicated, so they decided to not risk it. That leaves a lot of option open on the side of Dusk. I'm curious if we're gonna see Rampage, Zinx as we were mentioning, because there's still like a lot of strong pick in the current meta that are still open for the taking.
Oh, there you go. Well, there's the Rampage pick. Oh, so Zinx and Rampage. Interesting. Well, I'm glad we got to see Zinx, because I definitely wanted to see some high-level Zinx play. I think Rampage is a really great pick. I do like the Argus pick as well. I've definitely been taking Argus mid and then maybe swapping to support. So that's a really interesting pick.
Yeah, and now we're seeing the Steel and the Drongo. So Steel is one of those heroes that can be flexed in the jungle, or it can be in the off lane, but can also be a support. So maybe this is an Argus mid lane that we're seeing here. But Zinx being that first pick from Team Dusk, they're showing that they're really prioritizing Zinx in their matchup. So now we're just waiting to see who's going to be that ADC, who's going to be paired up with her. But they're in the mid lane. They're going to pick Iggy and Scorch.
So like, I feel like which is interesting is a lot of those picks, they're kind of self-sufficient. Of course, the Drongo, every carry knows how to play it. It works by itself. The Argus as well. It's a bit curious to see like the Zinx on probably Crazy Fool, because like he's usually not a big fan of like Uncharted type backline, but I think the aggressivity in the lane kind of matches playstyle, so probably he's liking it there. And we're gonna get the Terra ban and the Twin Blast ban, so naturally on the side of Dawn, we already have our own carry, so we're gonna target like that hero pool. While on the other side, we're gonna like try to limit maybe option on the offlane and jungle. Like we know this Steel, we still don't know exactly what it's going to go, so that's why like we're limiting option there.
Yeah, we see the Grim pick coming out. I think Grim's a pretty interesting pick, especially into Argus and Steel, where you have that shield to block any CC. I like the Iggy pick as well. I'm a big fan of Iggy and throwing his Molotovs like halfway across the map. I think that's pretty fun. So yeah, I think that's a really interesting team composition on both sides, to be honest. I really like the Drongo pick as well because of the silence. It also has the ult. And then we see the Kwang pick, which is, I think this is looking to be a really interesting team composition, especially if they can combo some of these abilities.
Yeah, and speaking of combos, we're already kind of imagining what sort of CC or crowd control we're going to be expecting from Team Dawn. You're going to expect that Argus. You're going to expect that Steel to be shield slamming. You've got the silence from the Drongo. He's got a lot of mobility and safety. And then the Kwang tether. And now they're locking in the Wraith as their last pick.
Yeah, that's interesting because like with the res, I would assume the res is gonna go mid lane and that we have the Argus support. And I don't know if it's Steel or Krang are gonna be jungle or offlane, so there's still like a lot of shift potential. On the side of the Dusk team, though, I kind of like and dislike at the same time what they're going for. We have the Rampage, and Rampage is very, very good at contesting objective, while Iggy is very, very strong at securing objective when you have control of it. So that gives you like a lot of control of objective fight during the whole game. But at the same time, Rampage wants to dive in, while Iggy and Scorch wants to fight in his own backline. So for objective control, it's going to be super strong, but for team fight, it's going to be kind of disjoint a little bit. So I'm curious with what they're going to finish that draft to kind of round up that idea and maybe find like the perfect link. But there is some strengths and weaknesses that can be exploited there.
Oh, well, they went with the Fae. So, I mean, coming back to the Wraith pick, that one caught me by surprise for sure. I think Wraith is really strong in the right hands, but I definitely didn't see it in this team composition. And then the Fae coming out, I think that's an interesting one. You're saying about Rampage, diving in, and then Iggy kind of being more at the back. I think with the Zinx as well, one thing that I found is when the Zinx puts the ult on a Rampage, and then with the heals on top, like that can be a really nasty combo. And if you don't deal with it as a team, they can definitely kind of run wild. So I think that could be really interesting. And then Rampage disrupting everything, it could allow Faye to get off like a really big ult. So I'm hoping we'll see a 5-man fail.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about Rampage ulting, and then he dies, but no, he doesn't die because Zinx ults him. And he's just like this big body protecting this Team Dusk. But now that we've got the drafts rounded out, based on the drafts alone, who do you think is favorable, I guess, to win, in your opinion?
Well, I would have to give it to Team Dawn, to be honest, because like there is like one big thing on Team Dusk, it's all magical damage. Even Rampage Boulder is magical, so they really have a big lack of physical damage. While you have to face a Steel and a Quang that can itemize fully against magical damage, I feel like their frontline is going to be so fine that it's going to be very hard to reach a Drongo, the Res, and the Argus. And the Res, Argus, Drongo damage against like a Fae, a Grim, a Gi, or a Zinx can absolutely delete people if they kind of nullify a little bit what the Rampage does. So I think that's kind of like a big misstep that maybe will cost them the game here.
Yeah, I think I agree with Mugi there. Like, I think the Dawn team have it here just based on the draft. Obviously, we never know what could happen, but I think that's a lot of magical damage, and I think the Dawn team should be able to itemize against it. So, for me, I think Dawn's going to take this one.
Okay, but it's... All right, just give us a moment here, because I believe, based on what the little bird in my ear is telling us, there are going to be actually some changes. It's going to be a Belica versus a Wraith. Or maybe it's an Argus versus a Wraith. That does change it. Does it change what you think is going to win for this next match? Mugi and Robbie, what do you think?
Well, suddenly you have a little bit more physical damage, so naturally it's like a little bit less straightforward. But one thing that is actually very interesting is who is offlane on the Dusk side? Is it the Res? I don't think. I think Res gonna be mid because like Res offlane is just like wishing to be destroyed. So that means that we have Iggy and Scorch. Or maybe it's a Iggy and Scorch carry and the Grim that is going offlane. We've seen that some people like to do that in NA. I have to admit, I don't know who is gonna be in offlane on the ends of Tekken Kid.
Yeah, I feel like they must have been listening to you, Mugi, and then switched up the draft. But this is super interesting. I think it just got a whole lot more interesting because we have no idea who's going where. Honestly, the Wraith could play carry as well, so you could have Iggy, Grim, or Wraith playing in the carry lane if they're see how crazy they are. I think the Belica is a good pick as well, especially against the Zinx, Iggy. So yeah, I think this is gonna be really exciting, and they definitely changed it up. I think I'm still gonna go with Dawn. I really like that team comp. There's a lot of CC there as well.
Yeah, I just see so much chaos in Team Dusk, but I guess that must be their strategy. They want chaos going into game one. But this is the draft, ladies and gentlemen. Get your predictions in. This is the first match of the day between Team Dawn and Dusk. It's time to watch it, and let's send it over to Ego and Tangy Wangy.
Gamers, welcome to the All-Star Event. You got the ED combo out of this world commentary. It's Ego and Tank, brother. How are you doing today?
Oh, I was looking at the draft, honestly. I was like, what are they cooking? Then Trice is like, yeah, we're gonna swap a few things around. And honestly, it's not less cooking after all, because that offlaner, Ego, I think that is gonna be an Iggy. So I'm personally totally stoked to see what they have cooked up today for us.
You know, I feel like in a lot of circumstances, I get torched, no pun intended, when I go against someone I'm not anticipating to, especially off in that solo lane. But Lauber here, man, top of the line player on a top of the line character. I'm assuming he may have the solution to this unexpected problem. Nonetheless, though, we are going to see the Dusk getting a little bit spicy as Mav, Crazy Fool, and the rest of the crew are going to be looking for an early invade.
Oh. Gratty in the front line might be caught out. Mav is gonna ready the boulder, but it's not enough to catch him quite yet. Is gonna get away with the bull rush utilized by the steal. Gets chased out of his own jungle. A few wards being dropped just for good measure as well. But we can already see that the Dusk team is not playing around. They want to get those leads and they want to get them early.
You know, Crazy Fool has always been of the mindset that there can be all these types of strategies that get implemented into the game, but if you're the one who sees the momentum early, it's so much harder for the other team to be able to execute on any of those plans. I think Mike Tyson said it first, you always have a plan until you get hit in the face, and right there, we saw Team Dusk taking their first swing.
First swing not connecting, but surely the second or third one will, and we're looking at those comps, right? Like, we're definitely not expecting them to sit back. So those swings are gonna come in. The question is just, is Dawn gonna roll over, or are they gonna engage the fight as well? Are they gonna swing back? Are we gonna see a banger game? Lorben offlane, though, on that Kwang is not going to have the easiest time against Tekken Kid that honestly is just mainly going to look to farm, but also can always throw those Molotov cocktails on top of Lorba to make sure that that Kwang is not feeling too confident, especially once Tekken Kid gets a few more items under the belt.
And as we actually at the desk point out too, the range on those is not to be frowned upon, as now it is going to be a damage rate going down, but the blinks up, Crazy Fool is going to be able to get out, and now it's going to actually be looking to get a little bit aggressive onto Jay, as we're going to see Dawn seize the first little bit of momentum here earlier on in the dual lane.
The only upside is that Lakenator can get healed by the Sings that did barely not connect with that Ricochet stun. Otherwise, it could have been really good time for them. Now Rampage makes the way over. Jay and Toasty suspecting something. Argus might have caught Mav out, but they're still stepping up a bit.
Yeah, man, Mav is going to be in a little bit of a difficult situation here, especially if his team doesn't shore up to help him out. The Dread Nova is going to connect. Nonetheless, that's the other crystal. It's going to be able to knock down some of the space. The Bull Rush is going to be able to knock Mav up and force the blink out. It doesn't look like Grady's going to be done, though, as Crazy Fool is going to get the first blood in the duo.
And that's exactly what we were saying. The healing coming in from Sings actually makes the negative trade from before play into the hands of Lakenator and Crazy Fool. They get the 2v2 outplay with Rampage just being caught in the river. Honestly, just blinks away, but sort of baits his dual lane. Now mid lane again. Argus made the rotation before. That is the one thing that Epi is always known for. Seismic does have the XP lead though, but with that snipe not connecting, can't really punish Epi Picker for leaving the lane for so long.
Yeah, we've seen those knock-knocks get sent out within the mid lane. Luckily enough for Argus, he has not been home, not getting chunked by this long-range damage that Wraith is going to be able to bring into the lane. Nonetheless, Wraith now is going to be looking to shove that lane in the best that he can here, as we're going to see the dual lane and Jay and Toasty now playing pretty close to the T1. Kwang, though, all but a dead man, is going to have to back.
And with that passive from the Iggy ticking, it's just hard to get the reset in as well. Delays him for a few more seconds. Lorba, we know how greedy that guy is not gonna reset unless there's like 5 people on his lane, is gonna catch the wave. So Tekken Kid could have probably pressured that tower a bit more, force Kwang to lose like, what is it, like 6 minions there. Instead, Lorba is gonna get everything he wants. Tekken Kid only getting that Cyan buff for himself. So all in all, I think Lorba pretty much survive the hardest stage of the game for himself. Now depending on what he goes for, he should be fine against that Iggy no lockdown. So in his kit, he is reliant on the Rampage to jump in to potentially get a kill onto Quang. That is just so elusive that I'm honestly not sort of expecting that to happen.
I think in that solo lane, as you said, it does feel like there's going to have to be a slip up coming out of either one of these players. But Tekken versus Lauber, both very good players, are going to be looking to be stepping on steadfast ground, ensuring that every step they take is going to be towards that W. And as we have seen up to this point, Tekken the Kid is going to be very comfortable just sitting back, getting the poke, and setting up, as we're going to see the Seismic Missile set up a potential kill. Crazy Fool is going to be oh so very low and oh so very dead as Jay picks up a kill.
Toasty lands the Seismic Assault, they win the damage trade, they get that pick. Now Rampage also on the left hand side is gonna try to respawn.
It is going to be an engage. Mav now playing the space over on the back end. Jay is going to have to use the shrapnel cannon and his blink in order to create a little bit of space, but it doesn't look like Mav is quite done yet. All Bella can do is walk away as the gag grenade comes down, and it looks like it will be enough to dissuade Mav from continuing on the onslaught. Within the mid lane, it's going to get picked up. Seismic, an absolute earthquake level kill, as he's going to be able to lock down the mid laner of Team Don. Now the rotation coming out of Steel is going to drop him into his grave, as Mav is going to be able to pick up another kill. The action isn't quite over yet, though, as Toasty is relatively low, but it looks like Crazy Fool doesn't want to commit, considering Lauber is on the back end, killing his mid laner off the lane. That is going to be a lot of kill trades here in the mid.
Can't interact on offlane, no worries. I'm gonna run into the mid instead. Is level 6, does have the ultimate up as well, and gets the pick onto Seismic after it was Gratty getting caught there a tiny bit. Level 4 still on the Steel, is struggling a tiny bit against that Rampage. We've not seen too much coming out of the Steel pick yet, but as we often say, Steel gets full build once he is level 6, and I think this time we might see something similar. Mav though again, we see a lot of presence towards that left-hand side. So far has only been getting that blink, nothing more.
Yeah, and there is now going to be a rotation coming over from the solo lane. The ulti is going to be enough to set Seismic up to be able to lock down yet another kill, as Appy Picker is going to be the one who gets picked off. Kill lead going in favor of Dusk by 2.
Yeah, so 2-4. All in all, like, it's not the end of the world, honestly. It's a pretty even game. We see leads opening up on different parts of the map. The Argus rotation over to the left side before did get his dual lane a bit ahead, did get a really good damage trade onto jungler as well, but the rest was struggling. Now mid lane, Seismic caught out in a bad spot. Toasty connecting with the stun, but there is nothing left in the tank. Gratty goes under turret. It's not gonna connect with the RB, and Gratty picks up that kill, but in the end, it's just a 1-for-1.
Oh man, what did it cost? And it's going to be everything for the Steel, as now Lauber is going to have to do a little bit of a disappearing act, as Mav is going to be utilizing the Rampage ult in order to buy himself a little bit of time. Kwang will do the same, but Lauber understands he's between a rock and a hard place, but making his way to the blast fire, he may have a way out. You're going to be looking for the boulder, but instead you're going to be looking at the blink, as a kill does get locked down in 2 lanes, worlds apart. It's not going to be over yet. The Dread Nova offline. The other crystal is going to come up, and the particle shredder is going to come out as Crazy Fool is going to face a crazy amount of damage, as the Psionic Obliterator does what his name says and absolutely destroys Crazy Fool.
They get the pick. Now on the left, it's Lakeinator also in a bad spot, does not have the blink up after that earlier disengage, is gonna get stunned up by Gratty, ran down by Toasty and co as well. Appy Picker is gonna pick that one up, but is it responded to? Yes, it is. On the other side of the map, Mini Prime given over to Tekken Kid to make the lane even more of a nightmare for Quack.
Yeah, now they are going to be going for an exchange on it, though. Very aware that they lost that prime. They're going to be looking up to pick up this Fangtooth, which they will. Donside easily going to be able to burn that through, as now both of those major objectives are going to go down.
Both of them are down, so the question always is, like, who is it gonna benefit this time around? You gotta think that for Dawn's side, getting that Fang Tooth early on and giving away that Mini Prime is not the worst trade for themselves, honestly, because it's only on the Iggy as well. Lorba is gonna have a really bad time defending his tier 1 against the push coming out of Tekken Kid. We can see it right here, buffing up those minions and just hiding behind the turret line, just making it a nightmare for Lorba to try to defend this tier 1, but I'm expecting the rest of Dawn's side to maybe look towards that right hand side, get rid of that Mini Prime buff, and as long as they can sort of stay even on the other lanes, they're not gonna be worried too much.
Yeah, we're seeing Grady clearing out the blue side jungle as there is a bit of an assault being mounted on that left side. Tier 1 Jay making the smart choice, and it's going to just step back and give them the space, allowing them to damage the tower, but not as HP bar, knowing that the Dust side and Lake and Aaron Crazy Full as well as Matt are just so very comfortable getting the dive here. We've seen a lot of back and forth throughout this game, Tang. However, I kind of want to get in your head and ask you, who do you think has the full momentum at this point?
Honestly, I think I would rather play the Dusk team comp. I think they are in the kill lead, right? But honestly, 2Ks don't really matter too much. But I think the more important point is that Sing's character, the new character that Omeda did release, is just really, really strong. Now Toasty is in the corner, it's in a bad spot. Pulled her down, Lakeinator pulling him closer.
Take your hands off the keyboard. There wasn't a response to all that CC, but Mav is looking to respond to the shrapnel cannon. That Steel is going to be able to combo that in with the ulti. The Void Bomb coming off of the back end is going to be able to lock down Mav, as now Crazy Fool is going to get chased down after Lakeinator goes down. Jay able to lock down the kill. Crazy looking for a way out, but a blink for blink exchange is going to relegate his teammates dead, but him alive.
Okay, never mind. I would rather play that Dawn side's team composition, especially with all those stuns connecting in the team fight. It just looked like just so hard to play against, honestly, with that Bellica connecting the stun onto 3 members. Rampage, you are big, you have the boulder in your hands, but you can't move. Silly you have no tenacity, you have no hope of getting out of that team fight either. And Dawn side, pick up another 2 kills, make the kill score even, and I think with that one they have sort of won that tier 1 tower on the left hand side as well, and it is the Grim actually getting further and further ahead of the Drongo that was not able, actually it was the Drongo picking up the kill onto the Grim instead. Mav looking towards the red side jungle.
Oh man. Dude, Seismic Assault into Dread Nova, into Ether Crystal to block your path for a reset, all within the condensed space of the river. Come on, dude. I'm trying to play the game here, but we've been able to see it time and time again. Steel in combination with Bellica, Argus, as well as Kwong, whenever he's going to be able to rotate into some of these 5-on-5s engages, that we're definitely going to get. This team is stacked with so much CC tank.
Definitely is. I think for the Dusk team, it's all on Seismic, to be honest, on that Wraith to find those isolated picks, get a good rewind while he himself is invisible, can't be caught, right? That is one of those avenues where they can actually look for picks themselves. But in those big 5v5 team fights, we can already see that it's going to be really hard for them to play, especially since that Rampage is the only frontline in their team, and with all that hard CC, we can see so far at least he's not tanky enough to actually play that role.
Yeah, now we're going to see if Wraith is going to be aware enough to survive a rotation here coming out of Lobber. The tether does come down, but not hitting its mark. It's not only going to give Sai the information that he is going to be assailed upon, but also going to give Kwong the info that he needs to get back to lane, as we see Iggy has been able to free farm over there for just a little bit of time. I'm not expecting to see any large fights here anytime immediately, Tang, considering that neither of these larger objectives are up yet.
I think once that Fang Tooth spawns, I am kind of expecting Tekken Kid to make the rotation over. Really strong in those pit fights, just able to set up his turrets and provide so much damage, more than pretty much any other mage if he actually does get the setup. So one priority is that the team of Dusk actually gets a bit of river control before he gets there. Now we can see recoils coming in, Iggy making his way over, so is Kwang. So Ego, this is gonna be a 5v5.
Oh man, Grady utilizing the ult there is not going to be able to get any pickups, but nonetheless, that Seismic Assault is going to be able to pick up one member onto the backline. The Particle Shredder absolutely shredding through the HP, but you have to worry about your backline. Toasty is getting cooked, no pun intended, as he gets burned through, but it is going to be 1-for-1 as Happy Picker is going to turn the Rampage into a Sushi, absolutely cutting him up with the damage. Kwong is now going to be getting it engaged, calling down the light of the heavens. He is going to be able to apply just enough pressure to help make this a 2-to-1 trade.
2-1, but it is Rampage down. Nobody able to step up through the fog gate now for the Dusk team. All of them range characters, all of them good at dishing out damage, but not good at tanking it up themselves. So with the Dusk team repelled, with the Dawn team also not strong enough to start up that Fangtooth quite yet. We see a bit of a dance around the duo lane, but now Gratty, it did bull rush into the pit. He is gonna try to start this up instantly with that Wraith back in spawn. So is the Sinks and Lakenator channeling the recall. That one should go over for free, and that is a really bad sign for the Dusk team, because honestly with that Iggy you would really hope for them to get those objectives early, because that is where Iggy shines.
I'm a little bit of a preemptive panicker. The moment that my team goes down one Fangtooth, I'm already 5 minutes later looking into the future, sweating the potential of them getting that second one, and that is not what you're going to be looking for Team Dust, as now you are unable to utilize one of the things that makes Iggy so great, and that's going to be locking down those objectives. Nonetheless, though, we are going to see Lauber make the rotation. It is going to be on to Iggy. The Epoch is going to get dropped in order to prevent him from getting popped onto the backside. It is going to be Mav looking to capitalize on the Kwangku. That's taking a series of tower shots, but with Lauber having his team around him, he is going to force Mav to disengage, and this is just going to be a full reset.
It's a full reset. On the left-hand side, we did see just a dry 1v1 as well. It was not even close. Lakenites are getting the better of Jay, still with half HP remaining. Did get the drop onto him, so ended up falling there. Now we see Toasty trying to look for him if he was overextending, but more importantly, as we see on screen, we did get that a mini prime secured, quite possibly onto the mid lane now of a Wraith, because I did not see actually Crazy Fool picks it up. Okay, so I guess we are carrying after all, showcasing that new hero that Omada has released not long ago, and hopefully showing us the strengths as well.
You know, the Battle Sinks does look pretty good in purple, as Jay is just going to be giving up this mid lane to the pressure of that mini prime, as well as Crazy and Sai, who are now going to be looking for a rotation more than likely to that left side coming from the river.
Definitely are, but so far no objectives up again. So that mini prime that Sinks has, that one should be utilized, but all tier 1s already down. Only the tier 2s are gonna be sort of the pressure points that they can play around, but it's really hard at 17 minutes in to go that deep, because cooldowns, death timers are gonna be really low, and that is always possibility to catch out sort of an over-ambitious siege. Rampage still gonna make the way into the blue side, but there might be a few too many members around.
Oh man, dude, Toasty with these seismic assaults have just been so spot on throughout this entire game. I want a recording, I want a percentage to see how many of these bad boys he has locked down, and as a result has set up Team Don to get a kill off of the back of it. That's a strong piece of CC, especially when you have that Dreadnought, that Particle Shredder to follow it up with either DPS or continuing on that CC chain. That being said, though, we do see a little bit of a grouping over there in the left lane, while Iggy is actually going to be looking for a split push, now forcing the Drongo out to defend this tier 2.
Seismic is getting caught in the mid lane. Gratty bull rush on top of him while he aims to escape. Mav also fighting on the other side of the map. He is gonna get Appy down lower and lower. It's gonna use that portal to buy a bit more space, but is there enough space to run away from the Grim? There is, with that stasis, but only for a second longer. Mav and Lakenator picking that one up.
Seismic onto 3 off the back hit, followed up by the bull to rush. The horns are out for Grady, as now he is going to be looking to assail onto the backline. Iggy looking for a runaway. Mav abandoning his team, knowing what is going to be coming, and the only question is who gets the kill. The answer is going to be Lakenator, as they do get a pickup. Lauber, though, maybe looking to get a little bit of retribution onto the Iggy, will not find it, as Tekken Kid is going to survive as Bellica also falls.
Dude, this game is so close, Ego. 11-11, another 2-for-1 trade. Stronger than meanwhile able to split push, get the tier 1 in for himself, and also get a bit more gold in his pockets. We did see him before lose that 1v1 against that Grim in isolation, but with that gold injection, aiming to make something else happen. Seismic might be looking for the 1v1, but with the knock-knock not being responded to by the Drongo, is just gonna back off, catch the wave on the turret.
Now, looking and seeing the spread out nature of Team Don here, they're going to be rolling back into the lanes, and considering that there isn't a major objective like that third Fangtooth up at the moment, I'm expecting to see them maybe farm a little bit, get these waves pushed out, reset, and then really set up a hard fight around this Fangtooth, because time and time again, we have seen the potency of just how strong going up 3-0 on those Fangtooths can be, and I'm sure there's nothing more than Don wanting to get that.
Definitely is, but we see Dusk, they really want to stop that from happening. Everybody is in the vicinity. Mav again though caught out, only Seismic close by.
That is going to be a panic ulti in order to try to prolong his life, but in the face of this much damage, what are you going to be able to do besides sit there and take the damage? Happy Picker is going to be the one who picks up the kill, as now Grady is going to be looking for a potential engage. The Bull Rush has been utilized, so it is going to have to be the Blink in order to create some space he needs to survive. It is going to be successful, but using the ult as well, maybe not quite as necessary, considering not everyone from Dusk was in hot pursuit there, coming and rallying around the riverside, though. It is going to be Lobber getting some damage onto Tekken, as it is going to force the Blink out of him. The ulti does connect from the Grim, but it is not going to be enough, and Epoch to prevent getting popped is going to be what comes out of Tekken Kid, as immediately he blinks out of the mid lane.
So now we have Rampage actually being up again. Nobody has been able to reset apart from Kwang that is in base. Rampage is gonna make his way over immediately. Gretty in the front line again. But Fangtooth has not been started by either team. Gretty is close by. Drongo has just channeled the recoil, so Gretty has to get out of dodge as soon as he can. Rampage in the vicinity now on his own, just making sure that he is gonna be aware of whenever that objective gets started. But I'm just looking at the minimap, and it just looks so hard for the Dust team to actually make it into the pits to try to contest.
I'm nervous because right now Don is playing with the and mentality. You're going to send your frontliner, and you're going to contest us, and you're going to take one of us, and we are going to take 3 of you as Fangtooth. It's going to get burned. We are going to see Mav going in, but it is not going to result in much, as now he is immediately going to get popped. 30 seconds on him being able to get back up, as the rest of Team Dusk is going to retreat and have to start setting up a defense.
Dude, I feel like Mav got kind of injured in this game, but only in the draft phase, right? Like, I'm saying this the nicest way possible, but the Rampage is having a really bad time. Facing off against so much hard CC, mid lane getting caught now though. Lorba is gonna be pretty tanky, but not tanky enough.
The rewind into the preemptive ulti coming out of Tekken the Kid. Iggy the Scorch, man, absolutely burning through some of that HP, but not quite enough to be able to get a lockdown kill onto him. I am looking forward though to seeing what kind of defense does get mounted here, as it looks like the Grim may be a casualty. Lakenator is surrounded on all sides as the Bull Rush is going to come through. The ulti missing out of Grady, and the Crystal does get deployed, as well as the Particle Shredder will inevitably be enough to get the kill. However, it is going to slide into the hands of Jay, who's going to get the last hit on Lakenator.
I really like this. Starting up that big prime, but there's no mana onto Tekken Kid, so those turrets are pretty much the only damage he can deal, but that is enough. Lorba in close by. He is the only one in the vicinity with Bellica, and he is enough to force everyone away. Is going in.
This has to be the run meme, right? Because this boy Kwang is haunting, and your HP bars are not going to be high enough to back up the people who are going to be assisting him. Lobber almost dead, but not quite, as Seismic is going to be enough to peel Mav off of the back, and he is going to get knocked up before potentially getting sat down by Jay, who's going to ultimately be the one who locks down the kill. Happy Picker onto the back end is still going to be stuck to the Orb Prime, though, as the Particle Shredder is going to be what starts this objective for Dawn.
If Iggy had a bit more mana in that fight, I really believe they could have just finished it. But with this, they are forced away. Jungler falling, so no threat of stealing it. Team fight is gonna happen though. We see everybody walk in.
All right, Sai, we're going to need a big play on him as now the Prime is going to go down, and inevitably it feels like members of Dusk are going to as well. Particle Shutter and their Crystal are going to be enough to be able to lock down the first kill onto the backside. Argids is annihilating the HP of the competition as Jay is going to be able to finish the job with the rad rounds. Sai hitting the knock is going to be looking for a potential kill here, but with the rallying of this squad around, he's going to be finding a disengage, a way out, as at the end of the day, it is going to be a 3-2 trade going in favor of Team Dawn.
Gratty might be caught out in a bad spot, utilizing that ultimate to buy a bit more space, but is it enough? Seismic still on the hunt as the Wraith. Knock, who's there? Not you anymore, Gratty. Picks up another kill for himself.
Absolutely. Door in the steel, if you get what I mean. Pun intended on that one. Boulder is going to go out, but not finding purchase on Happy Picker within the river. That was such a chaotic fight there. Tank, you give us a breakdown for some of the viewers who may have missed it.
So we do see Dawn team slowly but surely running away with the game, getting that third Fangtooth, but also getting that Prime now. Only Seismic, the only one remaining alive after that 4-death exchange from Dusk. Now Epipicker caught in a bad spot though. Toasty's close by.
Oh man, the other crystal getting deployed as well as the particle shutter, as well as the damage coming out of Toasty on the Pelika. I'm convinced at this point it's just a magic trick. 1 minute they're there, the next moment they are not. Those HP bars getting reduced in the matter of seconds as it looks like Iggy is going to potentially be another victim of it. Lobber getting oh so very close to the kill. He's not willing to give it up. Epoch underneath the tower, but the tether will not only land the sword to the ground, but Iggy as well as Tech and the Kid is going to fall. Lobber is going to get out.
And that felt very personal. Playing against that ranged offlaner that bullies him the entire game finally can turn it around. Now Mav again knocked down, knocked away, surviving by the skin of his teeth this time. Half HP already hiding. Meanwhile, we did see the Drongo actually fall to that Grim in a 1v1 where both of them actually ended up falling.
Now it's going to be rallying around this middle inhib. I'm expecting to see a soft defense, but stepping up Happy Picker at this point is basically a death sentence, especially when he has the follow-up of Lobber and Grady to keep you locked down where you may stand, where you may die. A very smart, soft defense coming out of Dusk. Nonetheless, it is going to result in that mid inhib falling.
The main problem that Dusk has been having in this game is that Wraith is not really a character that can dish out the damage sort of over a longer period of time. He does have his really good burst, but apart from that, he needs to play range. He can't really follow up on engages as well as some other mid laners could. Iggy, in the meanwhile, is sort of the permanent damage dealer, needs to get up close and personal, but needs to have a frontline in front of him. So it's sort of Rampage stuck in between two sort of playstyles, and in the end, it's just not working out for Dusk so far. Crazy Fool also with the Restless has not really been able to make the biggest impact in those team fights, but I'm always looking for that to change because now we see the dance around those objectives to resume. Fangtooth is going to be the next objective that is going to spawn momentarily, or actually has already spawned, and we see both teams trying to look for it.
A very deadly dance indeed. As you said, Tex the Kid is going to have to be pry on the damage, but he needs an engager to be able to set him up for success, as we're going to see a little bit of poke coming out of Abby Picker. And as far as engagers go, up to this point, Mav has been able to make some solid plays, but let's be honest, he's been a buff, gold buff some of the time, as Grady is going to get a lockdown onto Lake Nader. The sides of his the Void Bomb are going to be good as the Neural Disruptor comes out yet. Iggy doesn't come down quite yet. Inevitably, he is going to, though, as we are going to see a 2-0 trade. Once again, just going in favor of Don, who is getting everything and more that they're looking for. Tech the Kid forced to go on the run and will be utilizing the Blast Flower, but in the face of the Bull Rush, it's going to be enough. It will, as Tech the Kid is going to put the moves onto Grady and force him to retreat. Ultimately, at the end of the day, they are going to be victorious on this exchange because they have complete control of that Fang Pit.
But Seismic and Crazy Fool buying so much time for themselves, they can't finish up that Primal Fang quite yet, but they're already back on it. Gretzi also in the pit this time with his smite. That one can't be thrown away. Crazy Fool still going for the steal, trying everything he can, but in the end he just blinks in, gives over another kill, spray on the ground for good measure, and with that one it is 4 versus 5 with that Primal Flame in the hands of Dawn.
Primal Flame on this team that has been absolutely popping you throughout the entirety of this match is not what you want to see if you are a fan viewing for Team Dust. If you're looking for Tekken the Kid as well as the rest of this Dust Team squad to pull out the W, I'm gonna be honest, getting that 4th Fangtooth and that Primordial Blades for the hot team Dawn, it is looking like a potential L. However, it's not over until the big lady sings and it's still quiet on the battlefield.
It's still quiet, but only for a bit longer. That time is gonna come up in a second. Team fighting should be in favor, even more this time around for the Dawn team, but it wouldn't be the first time that the underdog in the late game manages to pick up a good team fight win. Dusk in prime position, right? Like the waves are pushing against them, but at least they are looking for the Fnatic Death Brush. Epi Picker might be the one that is getting caught.
Oh man, the rewind, but the epoch to get around it will still stand them still, as now it is going to be a blink. The other crystal coming out as the Dreadnova does go offline. Following up that offline, Lakeinator gets off, as now we're going to see a surge of Team Dawn in the lane, now pushing all together. Long range Dreadnova is going to connect with Tekken the Kid, who is going to get bullied. The bull rush is going to come out, but an ulti in response is going to be able to buy him a little bit of time. Lobber, though, is going to be laughing in the face of death as he's going to be getting the rush down on 2-3 because his team will be able to clean up the scraps that was an Iggy who got scorched. Right now, it feels like Dawn cannot do anything wrong, man, Tank.
Yeah, it just looks a bit like cyberbullying at this point. Ego, it's just Dawn team running down Dusk. Like it was a good pick attempt onto the Argus, but honestly, Epi Picker, he's just too good, man. Like uses the stasis to get rid of the rewind and then buys a bit more space with the blink and turns it onto Lakeinator. Seismic in the offlane fighting against Law, but it is still buffed up with that Primordial Flame, and we can see on the minimap everybody coming in order to help him out of that one as well. Jay is gonna pick it up. Crazy Fool in a bad spot now as well, and they're all routing.
They are going to fall one by one. You're already missing 3. They're looking to make it 4 as Lobber ultimately is going to be the one who's attributed that 4th kill onto Lakeinator. Mav is going to be not quite alone, but with only an Iggy in the face of this much damage and these minions, it does feel like this could potentially be a wrap. We're going to be looking for a miracle as Mav is going to get knocked up, sat down, and the crystal coming out. Particle Shredder absolutely disintegrates him. It's not an acne commercial, but this man got popped. It is going to be the Dawn side who takes game 1.
And what a statement game that was, picking up that first game with the hard CC comp that they've drafted for themselves. You have a ranged offlaner. Too bad, we actually just don't care whatsoever. We're gonna stun whoever's up in the front line, and he is not gonna be able to do anything in those team fights, forcing them away over and over again. And what a clean finish to the game as well.
For Team Dusk, it definitely does feel like you can have a game plan, but in order to execute on that, your gameplay has to be near perfect, and your gameplay can't even be good when you're not allowed to play the game. You got CC'd again, and you got CC'd for a longer period of time, getting sent back to Fountain every time you were thirsty for a kill. Dawn, they drafted for this and they got it. It paid in dividends around these fights on Fangtooth, around Prime, on rotations. There was so much free damage coming out, Tang. It was truly amazing. I'm very excited though to see what adjustments the Dust side makes as we are going to be sending it back to desk.
Thank you so much, Ego and Tang. Welcome back to the desk. My name is Ardog with the Triple G's, and we're back with Mugiwawa and RGS Ace. We just watched our first game in this All-Stars event between Team Dawn and Team Dusk, with Dawn winning this first game. Wow, what a first game for Lobber, Appy, Jay, Toasty, and Grady. Mugi and Robbie, what did you see from that game?
Well, I think it was interesting in that game. There was like two philosophy. I kind of like the idea of the Iggy in the off lane, and with that they secure like the mini primes, and with those mini primes they actually secure like 3 tier 1 tower before team don't even secure a single tower. And so I guess like the idea that was maybe with all that gold that they can get, because in terms of kill it was pretty even, we can maybe come for the third Fangtus and actually contest that third Fangtus, because we led the two first Fangtus for the enemy team. Unfortunately they didn't manage to win that very, very important fight. And then like the CC comp was a little bit too much to handle with triple Fangtus and all those lockdown.
Yeah, firstly, I think that that game started off pretty chaotic, and then it just got even more chaotic. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was really interested Zinx it's the first time we're seeing Zinx played at a higher level, and I think Crazy Fool is obviously one of the best support players in the game. But I felt like with Zinx, she didn't really kind of have the impact I was expecting. In some of the fights, you were seeing that I think towards the end where Crazy used his ult on Mav, they just kind of waited for the revive to run out and then kill the Rampage. And so I think in coordinated teams where you can just tell like, hey, let's not shoot the Rampage, let's wait till the revive's over, and then we can kill him. I think Zinx kind of the ultimate wasn't really utilized, and that's not anything to do with Crazy Fool. I just think it's quite easy to counter. So I was a little disappointed with the Zinx, but I think the Dust team started pretty aggressive, but I think the draft maybe let them down.
Yeah, Team Dust just came in with such a chaotic team comp with Iggy offlane, the two ADCs, and they only had Rampage as their only big body. Meanwhile, Dawn just had more of a traditional team, and that's how they were able to secure their win. But what else happened?
Well, I think also when it comes to the crowd control, like Seismic Assault, Shield Slam, Bull Rush, Dread Nova, Judgment of the Events into Surge of the Event combo for the Quang. And when you think about it, like all those crowd control are also like very easy to telegraph for your teammates. So even if you're not like used to play together, like the Dread Nova is kind of slow, so you know it's gonna hit. The Surge of the Event, you know it's gonna come after the Judgment. Like the Seismic Assault is very easy to follow up. So in this type of environment of All-Star, I feel like it's very strong. But at the same time, I kind of feel like Lycanator soloed Jay in that match. Seismic soloed Happy Picker. So now you have shown that you can solo your opponent, like you're the better. Like, no, let's play as a team comp, play together, and you win the next match.
Yeah, I think speaking of like the individual play, something that I noticed was the with the Wraith ult, and then the way they were utilizing that, there was a play on Appy Picker where they caught Appy out of position, but he managed to stasis, and then he flashed, and so Lycanator got caught out of position. And so I think the draft, as I said, kind of let them down, but there was some really great individual play from both teams. So I'm really excited to see kind of what the draft looks like in the next game. And I'm rooting for Team Dusk because I want to see a best of 3.
You want to come back from Team Dusk. We'll have to see what kind of strategy they'll pull up next. But while I have your attention, we do want to mention that it is September, which means it's Subtember. It's an annual celebration on Twitch that offers discounts on subscriptions, and you can save up to 30% on subs until October 1st. So if you like what you're seeing, please consider subscribing, and of course, find and follow us on all of our social medias. It's time to go for a washroom break, grab some snacks, and we'll be right back with Game 2. Welcome back to the desk, everyone. This is R-Dog with the Triple G's, and we are back with Mugiwawa and RGS Ace. This is our second game of the day in this best of three. We just watched Team Dawn win the first match, but whoever wins in this best of three, they will be the winners of the PCC All-Stars event and will go against the PCC crew. But going into the second match, we saw that Dusk didn't do so hot in that first round. What should they do differently?
Well, I feel like probably draft a little bit more crowd control. I think like this type of more like doctors draft that is very chaotic. It kind of works when you have 5 players from the Doctors team, but when you only have 2, like maybe not everyone can like fully adapt to that playstyle because it's a very peculiar playstyle. I think we should play like a little more simpler predecessor or try and true and try to go from there.
Yeah, I agree with Mugi. I think the last draft was super interesting, but I don't think it worked out for them. So maybe just sticking to something more traditional will work out better for them.
Yeah, they just absolutely love that chaos. So when we've seen the chefs or the doctors play, they play Countess mid, for example. But now we've got the draft set up. We're seeing that Argus first ban from Dawn. They don't want Dusks to have Argus. They don't want this in Seismic's hand. They don't want this in Crazy Fool's hand.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. So Dusk is banning like Sevrog. So maybe I would assume that maybe we inverted the team. I don't know, because natural Dusk would like ban the Sevrog for a lobber. Well, no, sorry, repeat. But yeah, like Argus got removed. I'm surprised because that was their first pick. So maybe they want to shift things around. Like Happy Picker played a very strong Argus. They wanted to remove it. Dusk stick to their guns, remove the Sevrog, which means that the Richter is going to be open for Crazy Fool, which I would assume, knowing the character, probably Crazy Fool wants to play his Richter in the All-Star Event, so we're probably going to see that. But I wonder what's going to be the first pick, because it was Argus' previous match, and now it's off the table. And so they're actually going to bring the Zinx this time on the Dawn side, and probably that will be like for Toasty, because I know I've seen in my ranked games and normal games like some Zinx off lane or mid lane, but I truly believe it's better to skip it to the support role.
Yeah, and then we have the Richter. I was hoping we'd see Crazy on the Richter, so that should be a lot of fun. I think Crazy is one of the best Richters. And then again, the Iggy and Scorch. I don't know if I'm feeling Iggy and Scorch that much after the last game, but I'm really excited about the Richter.
I really like that statement that Ego made, saying like Iggy got scorched. What a beautiful wordplay from his casting. But Iggy and Scorch can be played in the mid lane. We saw from the previous game that Tekken Kid piloted him in the off lane, but didn't do so well with it. Yes, he was able to, push down through that lane and W key, but we're seeing the Steel and the Drago. That's going to be the duo with Zinx there from Dawn's side, and this Steel we're seeing probably in the jungle yet again by Grady, or maybe we'll see it in Lobber's hands.
Yeah, and Zing's Drongo lane is a very dangerous lane. You can be super aggressive with the Drongo. Also, if you get hook on the Drongo, if you don't die immediately, like suddenly, you can just survive the burst and then you heal, while the Richter probably took a lot of damage and suddenly you win the lane. That's exactly what happened in the first match with Zinx. Like, trade was even, but then we got the heal from Zinx and suddenly like everything is very, very complicated. They go again for the Steel. Naturally, the Steel. Oh, and we have a little switch. So apparently it's not Drongo. It's gonna be Twin Blast. So, and also it's not Iggy and Scorch. Okay, so we have a Rampage Rictor on the side of Dusk, and so we have seen Mav on the Rampage, probably Crazy Fool on the Rictor, and this combo is very strong because you can boulder into a Replash, and that's almost like a guaranteed kill when you combine those things. So I love like that combo can play like to their strengths. On the other side, we have the Zinx and Twin Blast, kind of scaling lane, probably not looking too much aggressivity, despite Zinx can be good at that, but Twin Blast early levels is very weak.
Yeah, I'm much more comfortable with this over the Iggy pick. I think Richter Rampage is a great combination along with Kwang. I think, you know, like you said, the Rampage Rock into the Richter pull, it's almost a guaranteed death. We see the Terra ban and the Iggy ban. I'm not sure about the Iggy ban. I think, you know, they shouldn't pick it anyway, so it's probably a free ban there. But yeah, sadly, no Terra. I actually think Terra's a really great hero, so she's a lot of fun to play.
Yeah, she's a lot of fun, but they don't want to have them to have too much fun. But we're seeing a Grux. So initially we thought that maybe Richter's gonna be with Crazy Fool, Mav on that Rampage, Kwang probably Tekken Kid, but Grux, we're still missing the mid laner, we're still missing the ADC. I'm trying to think like what. There is a lot of CC and combinations we're seeing from Team Dust side, but is this the chaos? They're still going with that chaos strategy going into game number 2, it seems.
I don't know. It seems like they love to cook something that I have no idea. Maybe they said like the highest number of CC in one team win the match, because here they said like, let's take all front lines that have a lot of CC and we call it a day, but I have no idea who is going to be mid. Maybe it's like they want to try some weird things on the carry role, but I don't really see it happen. But on the side of Dawn, we're going to round up the draft with a Faye and a Contest. So we have our front line with the Steel, with like 2 characters that we usually don't see that much in competitive. Like Faye can be very, very strong, but she can get nullified pretty easily by the cleans on the support role. But once you know that the support is not going to be an enchanter, suddenly it's much harder to pick that solution. So Faye suddenly like get a lot more success. And Contest, well, Contest is, if she snowballs, she's unstoppable. She's super, super duper strong. But at the same time, she can be like really feast or famine. So it depends on how the game is going to go.
Yeah, this is a really interesting draft by the Dust team. You've got a lot of tanky heroes there. Okay, so they are actually going to pick a carry. So I have no idea who's going to go mid. Maybe it's a Kwang mid. I'd imagine a Grux in the off lane, Rampage in the jungle, and Crazy's going to be on Richter, I think. But that's a lot of CC. You got the Grux pull, the Grux knock up, the Kwang tether, the Rampage rock, the Richter ult, the Richter pull. So I think this time, even though the Dusk draft is a little weird, I think I'm going to give it to the Dusk team.
Robbie's choosing the chaos this time around. He's rooting for Dusk to win. I'm just curious to see who's actually going to be in the mid lane. We have a lot of options on who could be, you know, joining the Drongo over on Duo. But Mugi, what are you picking?
I feel like probably Richter has to be on the Crazy Fool. We pick the Drongo with it. We want to go for the Diable Silence and we want to be like aggressive. Rampage, of course, in the jungle. We don't have Dr. Flick here, so no Rampage offlane shenanigans. So I would say, like, knowing Tekken Key, I think Grux is horrible in mid lane. You can do nothing with Grux mid. It's too easy to pick. You're never gonna get to the enemy mage. So I think Grux has to be offlane because only Quang could, like, maybe play the game in mid lane, I feel like. But I still don't know what Quang mid really brings to the table. One thing though that can be like dangerous is Dawn has like good damage, but the Twin Blast take a long time to scale in terms of damage, and Contest is good at like assassinate people but not tanky target. Well, they have like a lot of magical damage. Only the Twin Blast is gonna bring the physical damage, but even Vortex Grenade is magical. So maybe they can try to Death Ball in the early mid game with all those frontline building a little bit of magical armor, and then they cannot be killed. And maybe they snowball the game from there. But I never seen that type of comp, so I have no idea where it's going to go.
Robbie, any last thoughts before we head into the game?
No, I think Mugi said it excellently, and I'm really excited for this one. I hope Dusk just come out swinging.
Especially especially with those big bodies. But this is a best of 3 in our All-Stars event. Dawn has already won 1, and we are about to go into game 2. Cast your votes. The game is ready. Take it away, Ego and Tang.
Gamers, it's Ego, it's Tang. We're back. You know who we are, and we know what these players are going to be capable of as we're going to be looking to make our way into game 2 with a completely new draft. Tang, are you excited for this one?
Yeah, I think it's like Dusk did get some takeaways after that first game, I think, Ego, and they went the complete other side. Like, first we had no tank, now we have only tank plus a Drongo. I think, honestly, they've been cooking, and I can't wait to jump into the game, because this is gonna be something special. Honestly, big shout out to the desk as well. Mugi, Ace, and Ardog doing a fantastic job breaking this down, because this is not an easy task with all those heroes entering the battlefield now.
The easiest way that I can put it is they went for the barbecue angle, man. You were talking about cooking, so it only makes sense that after Don smoked them in game 1, they drafted the beef. These guys are going to be so very tanky and very reliant on that damage coming out of the Ratarounds and coming out of Drongo. Lakenator is going to have to truly have an all-star performance, but hey, stars only shine when it's darkest, and they're down 1 game.
Definitely. 1 game down, no hopes left whatsoever. We can see that with those picks being locked in. Seismic in the mid lane on Kwang, not known for his melee champions usually, but this time wants to prove the doubters wrong. Luckily, the enemy has picked the counters away from him, so we don't have to suffer through that. Instead, Kwang being picked up. Seismic is gonna face off against the Fae on lane.
Man, and Seismic having to play into Appy Picker. Don't get me wrong, I am a Psy fan, but after Appy Picker's performance within that last game, he just makes it look so easy. 1v2, 1v3. As long as Appy Picker is there, he is going to be able to even up the odds. That being said, though, Tang, I want your honest opinion. What do you think about this Dusk team comp scaling into the late game?
So Dusk is a bit rough, right? Because we did see that one thing that you can always rely on is those hard CC abilities with Grux Rampage, Kwang, and Richter providing a lot of that. But I think it's gonna be dependent on the Lakenator as well. Is he gonna be there to follow up on that hard CC with the damage that is gonna be required to get rid of those tankier characters that steal, also that Sinks providing the healing and the regenesis on that ultimate, always allowing to bring somebody back from certain doom.
Yeah, man, and that regenesis is not only going to be a key part of some of these fights and rotations around river off of the backside of the gang, but also when you start playing into that Fangtooth pit, playing around that prime, because being able to bring somebody like TB back, somebody like Countess, or even an Engager off of a Bull Rush that maybe didn't end up the way you want to, such as Steel, is going to be able to provide so much value. And I know that both of these teams at mechanical levels are at the top of the charts, but that being said, Toasty really has just been playing out of his mind today.
Definitely has, and now he is playing the character that he was up against in the game before. Does pilot the Sinks, does dodge out on the stun from Crazy Fool that is on his signature Richter. That is a one guy that we are gonna have a look out as well, because Crazy Fool always finds those engages, especially towards the mid to late game. Usually the laning phase the weakest for both Lakenator and Crazy Fool, this time on the same side of the map, which usually doesn't happen, of course. Usually we do see them linked up with Jay instead. Now Gratty already making his presence known, walking over towards the left side.
It's going to be the Countess on the rotation, as instantaneously it's going to be a blink in response to the burst out, and a big Riplash actually is going to be coming out of Crazy Fool as the kill potential skyrockets, but does not quite hit the ceiling. As Tang, we're still going to have to wait for that first blood.
Really lucky there that the 3 melee minions actually went into the turret and tanking up the aggro. So Sings did get out scot-free, did have to invest a blink before. So at least it's a trade 1-for-1 in terms of summoners. Drongo, though, is going to be pretty vulnerable for the foreseeable future. Needs to be really worry about actually keeping up with the Twimblers, because as we said before, right, Digo, it's going to be the Drongo show as long as his frontliners can provide sort of that meat shield that is going to keep him alive.
Yeah, there should be no point in this game, if everything goes in accordance with what Dusk is hoping for, that there should be someone within 5, 10, 15 meters of this Drongo. You want everyone on this squad that's not Drongo to be forming a wall around him so he can do damage with those rat rounds, set you up for success with that gag grenade. And there's already a couple synergies that we're very aware of that are very simplistic and easy to execute, right? The Guang Tether in combination with the gag grenade, as well as the gag grenade in combination with that Riplash, potentially into a skewer once we hit that level 6. All that being said, it's easy, but not the easiest, because your competition knows what's coming and knows how to play around it better than arguably anyone else in the world. This is the All-Star game after all.
And that's exactly why we are looking in. That's why we are watching this game, because we know those players have what it takes. As Crazy Food is going to get caught out by Toasty again. It's going to take half his HP bar, but is going to survive after all, with sort of Gratty in the vicinity as well. It's going to connect with the hook in the rivers. We just see a lot of trading all over the place, but it is actually Richter getting forced away, and towards the left-hand side, Drongo, no blink up. Gratty's going to go in.
Yes, and it is going to be an easy kill, as Gratty is going to be able to get the lockdown onto Latenator Countess, making sure that they know they're going to have to count their days, as it is going to be a blink that gets exercised, as Toasty is going to be able to follow up this squad onto the backside. Math now being forced to disengage is going to get away, but the same cannot be said for Tekken, as Lobber is going to get the solo dolo in the solo lane.
Math getting forced out of his jungle, Richter being forced away to blink away from the counters. That granted, it also used that blink, but it's just really, really bad for Dusk at the moment. They're losing everywhere with a comp that is supposed to be pretty strong early game, especially on that offlane. Tekken Kid getting actually dove, or actually I don't even think dove. I think he just died straight in the 1v1 against Lorber on that steal. Now it's Jay in a bad spot. They're looking to clean this up.
They do get the Fangtooth boat. The cost does look like it is going to be steep, as Happy Picker is going to actually be the first one to get the pick.
No.
What is happening? There's no Muriel, but this is a reversal of fortune. They step up after the Fangtooth gets taken and get put down. That's going to be the 3-0 trade, a 5-0 kill lead for Dawn.
Hold on, they're looking to run away with this game again against all the meat shields. If they're just so far ahead, then even a hero that is supposed to be a meat shield is just not gonna offer any resistances. Now Gratty again towards the left-hand side. Drongo still does not have the level 6, still does not have the blink up. Could be a viable target, but Gratty is finishing his recoil. Is not gonna look to get that pick onto Latenator.
Dusk might be a little bit weak in the knees, but Dawn is standing on business. We're going to take the objective, and we're going to take your lives. What kind of discount deal is going on within that duo lane? It feels like Dawn is just playing so very comfortably now. It's going to be up to side, maybe disrupt a little bit, as he's going to be getting an engage onto Lobber. That's going to be a lot of CC, but the Bull Rush is going to be able to buy space. And despite both members going in, it is going to be Steel that's just able to walk out.
At least gives Tekken Kid the chance to shove the wave out, but can't even do that, honestly. Can't even get it under the turret, can't even crash it, with counters actually being in the vicinity, making sure that Lorber is safe. Might actually offer himself up on a silver platter for Gratty in the jungle. It's gonna look to engage.
And Gratty is going to be looking to even up that kill lead, as it's going to be the ult that gets deployed now. The Bull Rush in order to close the space off the back end in combination with the blinking combination with the shield slam is going to lock down Tekken. As we said, getting even on the kills. That's going to be 6 after catching Grux as the odd man out.
And it's hunting season on the right side of the map. Steel making sure that his jungler is gonna be safe, that Grux, even with that Warlord's challenge, is only gonna be challenged himself. In the mid lane though, Faye is gonna be caught out a tiny bit. It's gonna take the left river, should be totally safe to walk it off towards the left hand side, and might even look for a cheeky fly trap onto Drongo and Richter.
Crazy, don't peek. The ricochet is up. The damage will put you down. Gag grenade deployed in order to tell him to shut up before a potential shutdown ventilator does get used, but Crazy Fool does not go down as he moonwalks his way behind his tier 1 tower, and the rest of Dawn is going to be looking to shove.
Yeah, they're looking to shove, but at least Rampage is able to start up that mini prime. The counter is not really in the vicinity quite yet, so that mini prime is going to be secured. But what is it going to cost? Lorba is close by, is going to try to stop them from taking it or delay some more time because Countess is also walking.
He's not losing HP. Dang, he's not losing HP. And now the Pixie with an attitude is coming over to give them a rotation, sending 2 members to Neverland. Tell Peter Pan he's going to have to make room for the Rampage in the Grux. Explain to me, brother Tang, the math isn't mathing. How do you have this much tank, but you're getting melted like butter off of every rotation? Dawn just can't make a mistake right now.
They just can't. They're just, wherever they walk, Dusk shall fall. I think that is what we are seeing so far. Faye also picking up that mini prime there, accelerating her even more. And if you know the game, if you're familiar with Pret, then Faye is one of those tank killers that is always a big threat, especially once she is ahead. Does have sort of the peel from that steal and that sinks as well, so doesn't even need to worry too much about the engage coming out of Dusk, that it has just been falling over this entire game. Seismic in the mid lane on the Quang has been trying to make those rotations towards Tekken Kid, towards that mini prime, towards that Fangtooth, but it just hasn't worked out. The 3v3 always leaves them lacking.
And Grady lurking. You could see Mav there maybe looking to get a little bit proactive. It's going to get scared off by the Countess, and now it's going to take the long way to get to that T1 as all the pressure is on Dawn's side, man. This feels like a mountain that sprung from a molehill, but there was no time that it took to grow. It was immediate, and it has been sending tremors throughout the battlefield here. Appy Picker now making a rotation, potentially could be caught by Mav, but he doesn't want any of the beef. In fact, Dusk is looking vegan. It's going to be a blink in as Lakeinator is going to get bursted, and Mav is going to get big. Now engaging onto the back end. Bunch of damage dealers are also very low, and despite their HP falling, they do not. It is going to be 10-0, double digits, 11-0 in favor of Dawn.
Toasty is disgusted by how Sinks was played in the last game because he wants to show off how strong Sinks actually is. Uses that neural regenesis to get the revive onto Jay that looked like he was caught, but no, he's just playing on the edge. Now Seismic looking for Appy Picker. Friends are close by, but they're not close enough. Appy Picker alone for another 5 seconds. Seismic though knows Countess is on the way, is backing off. Gratty might be a bit overconfident. Richter is there looking for the hook, but Gratty gets out scot-free. Good usage of the Shadow Slip.
Grady making the rotation, telling the Kwang to count his days, if you get what I mean. Nonetheless, very aware he is going to get a disengage immediately as he sees Crazy Fool lurking, looking for that Riplash to set them up to potentially just get put onto the board here. And you can see within the stat chart, Grady 1-0-6. Not the most kills, but you can see that assist presence has been there. He has been everywhere that his team has needed him to be throughout the entirety of this match too. And if Dusk is going to be looking to push it to a match 3, something needs to change, and this could have potentially been it. But Toasty with the re-engage and the boulder off the back end is set up to be more vulnerable than he has been throughout the game. At this point, it will not result in much though, as he is still going to get out, and Dawn, it's still going to be in a solid dominant position.
Yeah, still 11 kills to 0. Dawn, you gotta think that with the comp they've drafted for themselves, right? Like a lot of heroes that sort of play themselves. Countess as long as she's fed, honestly, she can do whatever she wants. She is gonna have so much sort of healing in her kit, especially getting those kills early on is gonna grant her passive healing to be stronger and stronger. That Faye with that fly trap, able to catch out on all the tanks, honestly, that are not gonna have cleanse. So that is gonna be one viable avenue of attack as well. And Jay on the dual lane. 1-0-4 hasn't been the star in this game, but honestly, he doesn't need to, because Epi Picker in the mid lane has just been rolling over the team of Dusk.
100%, man, and I could not put it any better myself. I'm gonna have to channel my inner F6 for just a moment as we pray for replay here, and hopefully we do get the action continue to roll out sooner rather than later. But as you did say previously here, we are going to get back to that action. That might have actually been me as a happy picker. Looks like he may be potentially getting picked off here, but the ulti coming out is going to once again reverse the tempo of the engage, as happy picker is going to be able to pick up Crazy Full. Playing off in the back end, it is now going to be Toasty. Is the ulti going to be up in the event that this Faye may drop? What is happening? She's so small. Pick up the Pixie and put her in the grave, but there goes the ulti coming out of the Toasty, and they are cooking. Dusk now finally does get put on the map, but the cost is going to be 3 of their own members for one. Tekken looking to maybe even up the equation a little bit, but Toasty has been the X factor. Nonetheless, he is going to fall as Grady is now going to be looking for the engage, the pull back in to keep him in it. Grux is going to be looking for more, now looking for a way out, as Jay is going to look to make the Dino extinct. That is going to be a shadow slip. Nonetheless, it is Tekken the Kid that slips away.
Yeah, he slips away. We see 2 kills being traded over for Dusk, so is that the comeback coming in? Most likely not, but at least it is not just a dry show that we did see before. So a really elongated fight in the mid lane. Epi Picker buying so much time himself, and then that sinks the Toasty's piloting, almost making it impossible to get those frags that they needed. Although it is still them going down, so 2 kills for 2 in that longer mid lane engagement. And so we're seeing small cracks in the armor, but Ego, I don't think that's enough.
I'm gonna be 100% honest with you here. I'll speak blatantly and plainly. We are seeing cracks in the armor of a tank. We managed to get a dart through, but you can see how much it matters right here. Jay absolutely melting through, but possibly with the setup coming from the skewer and the presence of Mav, we could see expand outward to reveal a weak point. Toasty, utilizing the blast fire, is going to be able to create some solid space for himself, but we have seen them do this time and again. It's going to be Jay, it's going to be Toasty, it's going to be Dawn, shining the light onto the dual lane and burning through Mav yet again. But they're not done, as Lakeinator is going to be in the kill zone, the danger zone, and now he's going to be in his fountain after he was thirsty for a kill. It's going to be 4-0. We're 1 body away from an RGS ace.
And that's exactly why we are seeing an all-star game, because those are all-star plays, especially from that Sings, especially from Toasty, that are not only buy so much time, but also just place the wrap around those pillars so well, and then getting the pick onto Mav, managing to turn it with the help of Jay in the 2 versus 3, picking up all 3 kills for Jay, putting him even further ahead, while Grazi on the other side of the map gets the mini prime for himself, as well as Seismic in the mid lane is gonna say hello to the fly trap and is gonna get picked up by Epi Picker.
You know, in these situations, I start to really worry about the health of some of our players here, as the Dawn side surely is going to need to get those feet looked at after they have been stomping on Dusk throughout this game. All things being said, this is going to be an easy take of that Fangtooth. And Tank, throughout all of these engages, all of the times that we have seen Dusk actually getting proactive instead of being reactive, it just seems like Dawn doesn't know what the death screen really looks like, as Toasty is going to cook up Lakeinator off into the dual lane. What can Dusk do from this position, Tank, to put themselves not even in the driver's seat, to get back in the car and maybe push us to a game 3?
I think they gotta watch a bit Back to the Future, ask maybe the scientists there to invent a time machine, because it's looking doomed at the moment. Crazy Fool and Seismic getting pushed out of their own red side jungle.
Oh man, and it's only going to be a matter of time before a couple members fall. The skewer is only going to look to maybe buy him some type of time of crazy. Sees infinite ability, a Whiplash can buy his life. The answer is going to be no, as it is going to be Appy Picker, the collector of lives, the pattern of the stat block, at least for this set, picking up another couple kills on the Richter and Kwong, as Mav and Lakeinator on the Drongo Rampage are now going to have to set up some form of a soft defense, but the minions are in, and following it up is going to be Lauber, and Ult comes out, but not making contact with any. It is going to put Grady on the back line in an unfavorable position, but he's not dead yet, and the game isn't over until the big lady sings. But Dawn is getting the vocal exercises in. They have been just running through Dusk, and it doesn't look like it's stopping here, as Mav at least makes it a trade for Team Dusk.
So a bit overconfident in the mid lane, ended up being a 1-for-1 with tier 2 dropping for Dusk, but still Dawn picking up another kill for themselves. Lorber diving in a bit too deep after Gretty already was revived by that Regenesis from that Sinks that has been showing off what she can do in her kits, just providing so much healing while also giving that ricochet stun, able to lock down a bunch of members in the enemy team and just winning those team fights silently but surely for her team. Now we see a bit of a reset coming in. Nothing really up on the map. We have 20 minutes. That's when the big prime spawns. Mini prime no longer gonna be a target, and the Mav is gonna get yoinked out of the enemy's jungle after he tried to take the 2 camp oneself. But look at the scoreboard. Look on the mini map. You do not get anything out of Dawnside's jungle.
Nothing at all, and they have been so precise, so deadly in their execution of defending and being offensive when the time calls for it. Being able to take their time in some of these engagements has been key in them making some solid plays, but now Dusk is going to be looking for a miracle, praying for one. However, what they are going to find is a surplus of damage and a steal that actually does come out of Mav, but what is it going to get you? You have to be able to pick up a couple of bodies here, and it looks like Appy Picker got the memo, went to the wrong address. The violence continues for Dawn as they lose an objective but gain 3 more kills.
Yeah, the only thing they're picking up is just a stomp in the face. 3 members going down, 2 members still have the big prime jungle on the left side. It's looking to get the tier 2, but it might be the inhib on the line on the right. Lorber gonna be able to defend the left, and while Richter is looking to do the same on that right hand side, but might just be getting caught. Appy Picker there with the ultimate not up for another few seconds. It's gonna be a hard dive to pull off.
It's a 2v2 only in the way that inhibitor is there. The moment it falls, inevitably Crazy Fool will too, but it doesn't look like Dawn is going to be waiting for that, and the hubris is going to get Grady killed as Mav is going to be looking to capitalize on the Legendary 6 to man the structure, the tower, the inhib, but the damage coming out in response may prove to be too much. Now it's going to be an engage on Appy Picker, the Epoch, in order to prevent him from being popped, and Jay's going to be looking to do the same onto the back end. He's Happy Picky lives, as now it is not going to be 1, it's not going to be 2, it's going to be the only way we could do it, with the man in the booth in RGS saves in favor of Dawn, as this game, this set is going to come to its conclusion.
32-4. Big shoutouts to both teams rolling up today, giving us really interesting games to watch. Second one, bit more on the stompy side, but still shoutouts for trying new stuff, shoutouts for playing characters that you usually wouldn't see in those roles. So even though Dusk got taken advantage of today by Dawn, they have still been able to show off sometimes in the first game. Second time was more of the Dawn show that definitely did deserve to take the win in the all-star match between those two teams.
You know, Dawn really did show that phrase, the sun will always come up tomorrow, because they brought the heat to this set. We saw, as you said, game 1 was a little bit tighter, but by game 2, it was looking a little bit like high noon, and they were ready to set the score. And that scoreboard did get ran up for it. Congratulations to everyone who got voted into this event. Fantastic players, and I am very much so looking forward to seeing what they continue doing in the PCC. that being said, though, we are going to be tuning out. This has been Ego. It's been Tang. And now it's going to be right back to the desk.
Thank you so much, Ego and Tang. We are back at the desk. What just happened? GG's Dusk. Congratulations, Team Dawn. That's Slobber, Appy, Jay, Toasty, and Grady. This is the best of the best, and they are the winners of our first ever All-Stars event. Moogie and Robbie, help us make sense of what happened in Game 2.
Well, it's a little bit complicated. It was a little bit on the stompy side, like Tang said. Contest, well, 4 stack at 7 minutes. Full stack at 19 minutes, game finish at 22, 32-4. I feel like they got Fade a little bit because we all remember Faye as a weak character because everyone was playing Kari in NA, but if you have only tanks and you have a Quang against the Faye is free to rotate everywhere, the Faye is free to ult everyone, and the Faye is free to just kill everyone in the end.
Yeah, I definitely think the countess that Grady was playing definitely snowballed pretty quickly, and that was something that we were a little bit worried about going into the game, was like counters going into a lot of these tanks. But once Grady got going, there was really no stopping him, and I think that just kind of snowballed the game. There were some good moments from Crazy Fool with some hooks under the towers where the Dawn side just got out, and I think had they secured some of those kills, the game may have been a bit more even early on. But once the counters got fed and with the Faye being able to move the way she could, I think it just became too difficult.
Team Dusk just had no damage, unfortunately, and going back to, you know, what Team Dawn was able to do, they had the damage. But what we watched was a massacre, a bloodbath, an absolute slaughter. Their goal, or Dusk's goal, was to really win that early game, but yeah, there just wasn't enough damage. But let's talk about Toasty on Zinx. What did we think of that?
Well, Toasty played Zinx almost perfectly that match. We've seen like a lot of plays. They even win a 2v3 playing well with the explosive flower around the ledge. Neural, like the ultimate all the time, like always work to save a teammate. And we have seen time and time again, like that delay on the stasis plus the ultimate allo like Happy Picker to get those amazing fly trap like the last one at the end of the match. He was doing like a perfect job as Zinx basically.
Yeah, I agree with Moogie. It was a really great showcase of Zinx, and I'm glad we got to see a really good Zinx showcase.
Yeah, and Zinx is the newest hero out in Pred right now. So, but thank you everybody for being a part of the stream so far. Thanks to the players who have joined us in our All-Stars event. Ultimately, Team Dawn does reign victorious, but we know you want to have fun and we want to have fun. So we're actually going to be taking a break. Then we will watch Game 3. So these players are going head to head yet again. We'll see if Team Dusk will pull out another, you know,
Less cooking.
less cooking. Or maybe they'll go with more of a traditional team comp, which we've been saying in the desk. But don't go anywhere. Let's head for a break. Welcome back to the Prime Championship Circuit All-Stars Event, everybody. This is your host, Ardog with the Triple G's, and I'm joined by Mugiwawa and RGS Ace. We are about to watch a Game 3. We want to have fun, so we're having a Game 3. Team Dawn reigns victorious as our All-Star winners, but let's have some more games, shall we? Robbie and Mugi, how are we feeling about, these games so far?
Well, I feel like Team Dusk, I still they want to prove something, so I guess this Game 3 is their chance for that. They tried some crazy strats, but I think there is potential. This format of All-Star Event is not maybe the best way to pull it off. Definitely the tank in mid lane. Don't repeat that and try to do something else, but I'm excited for that third match because I think Dusk, they really want now to prove something.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I think they're all great players, and I think the second game we didn't really get to see much of the Dusk team, so I'm really excited to see what they're able to pull out, and hopefully it'll be a bit of a normal draft so that we can see some of their skills.
Without further ado, let's dive right into this draft. Robbie, I know you really want them to win, and but what bans are we expecting to see? Oh, there it is.
Yeah, we already have the Argus. I think on the side of Dawn, they probably want to repeat the Zinx, and so they go for a similar strategy. Maybe the Zinx first pick. We have seen Toasty was absolutely godlike on the pick, and so if it worked, just go for it again in a sense.
Yeah, so the same bans as last game with the Argus and Sevrog. I hope that Dusk... I want to see Crazy on the Richter again, hopefully, but I hope that they have a more traditional team comp. We see the Zinx again. The Dawn team played extremely well with the Zinx, so this is kind of a no-brainer pick for me.
Yeah, and we know that's going to be in Toasty's hands, and we saw what he was capable of doing based on Game 2. He was able to deal so much damage at the same time, revive his teammates, and heal them, and land his crowd control. But like what you wanted, Robbie, there's that Richter, and it's going to be in the Dusk team along with the Iggy and Scorch. Is this going to be a repeat of game number 1, or I don't know, is it going to be in Seismic's hand this time around?
Yeah, that we don't know. I think at least now we have a traditional mid laner no matter what happens if you want to go that direction. And to be fair, I kind of like the Richter with Iggy because then you pull people inside your turret because you kind of set up your spot. So I feel like it works well, the combo. Of course, we need to land the hooks, but if Crazy Fool have it, shouldn't be an issue. And on the side of the Dawn team, we go for the Steel Drongo. So kind of very similar to the previous team comp that we have seen. They just shift they had the Twin Blast, now they go for the Drongo. A little bit more aggressive on the lane and a little bit stronger, and you can also lock down people with the Shield Slam into the Gag Grenade, and suddenly people can disappear.
Yeah, we see the Howitzer ban. These are starting to look like more traditional teams, especially from the Dusk side. So I'm pretty excited. I really like the Twin Blast pick. I like the Richter and Iggy for exactly the reason you said. I still think Drongo with his silence is pretty strong. For me, he's one of the top carries at the moment. Just because of that silence, he also has the ult to get away. So I'm really liking both teams' drafts at the moment.
Yeah, and on top of that, he's got so much, mobility with the blink on top of his ultimate. We're already seeing the combinations from Team Dawn side, but coming out with the bans, we're seeing that Dawn doesn't want the crunch. So that's probably going to be a target ban on Tekken Kid, who we know loves to play crunch, and crunch just loves to punch. But there's that next pick. It's going to be the Decker.
Yeah, and that's interesting because there was one thing I wasn't a big fan on the side of Dusk is the Richter Twin Blast lane. Richter Twin Blast lane, I think it's a very, very horrible lane because with Richter, when you pull, you need to have kill pressure, and Twin Blast doesn't offer you that at all, which makes the lane very weak and kind of make your Richter very weak overall. So I was curious to see is the Richter really going to be support with the Twin Blast? Not a big fan, and here I kind of have my answer. They decided to go up for the Decker, and probably this Richter is going to be in the jungle or in the off lane. Maybe probably in the offlane for Tekken Kid, it's like a character he plays and Crunch is already removed. The Steel also is already removed, so I would assume Tekken Kid gonna take that Richter. But on the side of Dawn, like they had great success with Grati on the contest and they want to repeat that, which, to be fair, I'm not sure you should expect to do the exact same thing as the previous match. I feel like the previous match was an exception, so maybe a little too risky, but it worked out, so let's see if it worked out again.
Yeah, we have the Bellica and then the Rampage for the Dusk side. I kind of agree with the Countess. I think Grady played extremely well, but I would think Dusk are gonna, they've played against it now. They should be able to be more aware of it. I think they have a better team comp now as well. The Lieutenant Bellica is an interesting pick. I don't think she's been as popular. She was quite popular a couple months back, but she's, with that knock up, she's always a threat. So I'm really excited. I think the Rampage is another good pick. I think since the most recent patch, she's definitely a lot stronger. And so I'm really excited. I think this, for me, is a much more traditional team comp, and I think Dusk are gonna put up a better fight than they did in the last game for sure.
All right, so we have to, cast our votes on which draft you like best. Mugi and Robbie, give me 5 words or less. Which draft and why?
I would say Dusk, because it's impossible to win the game against them with Twin Blast Iggy, just clearing wave after wave, and enemy step, CC, and Replash. Yeah, I'm bad at a few words,
I'm gonna say Dusk because they stuck to a traditional team comp.
There we go. This is game 3 in the All-Stars event. This game is going to be a banger and it's going to be wild. Let's send it to Tang and Ego one last time.
Gamers, welcome back. It's game 3. It's the ET combo out of the world commentary with Ego and Tank. Brother, are you ready for this one?
Oh, definitely. I'm just hoping that the Dusk team is also going to be ready this time around. Second game got caught off guard, but we're looking at the Prime Pit already, Ego. What is going on?
What is happening here? Is this going to be a 5v5 in Prime? Both of these teams looking like they're just lining up for it. Wards are going to come down. Okay, no jungling, no beating it around the bush. It looks like these players are ready to rumble. As the sides of Gusol, it's going to come through. That is going to be a knockup onto one. A blink coming out of Lobber as he does start getting burned through by Mav, who's going to be able to get the first blood. But the scrapping it isn't over as Tekken. The kid does get the pull, but the Riplash is not going to be enough. As now in the 3v3 is going to be a double turn and a double knockup as the Seismic Assault sets up to a blink behind, locks down one as Sai does get the kill onto Grady all alone. Very few places to call home. It'll be Decker before she gets decked. That is going to be Dawn who wins the exchange.
That was the earliest RGSAs we've ever seen in predecessor, you gotta think. And Dawn picking up the win again in those team fights. If you're a bit confused, Dawn is on Dusk's side, Dusk is on Dawn's side, because we were thinking the only side we can get Dawn to win, actually Dusk to win, is by putting the Dawn team there. No, like it's a bit confusing, but surely, Ego, I think this time around, after already a big gold injection onto both teams, I think we are looking to get a banger.
Oh man, yes indeed, and I think these players are looking to just have an all-out small spit banger themselves. We could see it there earlier on. They're like, guys, at the end of the day, this is a game that we all love, a game that we all enjoy playing, so let's play around a little bit. Dawn has already kind of brought home the win for themselves, so let's settle this in the Prime Pit, and now we're going to be migrating on to the larger field, the battlefield, if you would, to see who's going to come out on top for this one.
Definitely, I think that was a really fun fight at the beginning. Now Bellica, though, no blink in the mid lane, might be getting caught by the Rampage that is just gonna try to hit her with the boulder. Did not end up connecting, so is gonna head on further towards the blue side jungle. As we see on the minimap, both junglers are looking to get those camps in. Potentially, though, Richter on the right is a bit overstepped.
Yeah, man, it does feel like Tekken is just looking for a fight, especially after a difficult prior few games. We may be looking and seeing these teams just looking to run it up and get a couple lockdown kills. As Sai is going to be making a rotation coming around the back in combination with Mav. Most certainly, Jay will be dead as the boulder is going to find purchase, and Zinx is going to find her way back to the fountain. It's going to be a 2-0 kill pickup going in favor of the Dawn side.
The one thing you never expect, Ego, the early rotation by the Iggy over towards the left-hand side, picking up 2 more kills, making it a bit more even after getting that kill lead earlier on. Epipicker trying to prevent Seismic from making it back onto lane, but Crazy Fool is there as well, making his best, connecting with the stun, with the cage as well. No blink up on Epipicker, but Toasty's there.
Ooh, the ricochet to save life as well as the seismic assault to guarantee space is going to be pretty solid, as now Grady is going to be applying pressure onto side. Coming out of the mid lane, Tekken, the kid is going to be making his way back to the edge of that tier 1, but with that Riplash up, there could be high potential for a pick here. But with Toasty and Happy Picker playing the space pretty well, it looks like we're actually going to see a disengage, and maybe Hank will get a little bit of a breath.
Yeah, maybe we can catch our breath as Lorba is as well, because he was just chilling on the right-hand side while Tekken did his best to make sure that Seismic on that Iggy is able to get out of dodge securely. So he did end up dropping a few minions. Lorba already ticked over to that level 5. You gotta think that him on the steal, especially remembering how it went in that last game, is certainly one avenue that the Dawn team this time around can leverage to attack.
Now we're going to see Crazy Fool migrating his way over back into that dual lane, and a little bit of a grouping, as we do know that Grady and Toasty are going to be playing behind that Shadow Veil, potentially looking for a dive fail, something that they have been oh so very comfortable doing, as the Dawn squad may be looking to elongate that win to a solid 3-0. But with Lakenator and Crazy Fool playing as carefully as they are, it is going to be a rotation out of that duo side for Grady, and now potentially in mid lane a pick on to the Iggy, as it is going to be a dive in, but the damage is not going to quite be there to be able to pick up a kill. The same though can't be said for Tekken, who maybe with a well-placed Riplash could get a lockdown on to Jay.
Yeah, does not have the enough mana actually to get the lockdown onto Lorba. So Lorba is actually gonna slowly but surely win the trades on that right-hand side of the map, while Tekken Kid just wants to push the wave in, just wants to make sure that Lorba can't crash this, but Lorba has different ideas. It's just gonna play with the wave, it's gonna utilize that big crash down as well in order to buy as much time as possible, but in the end Tekken Kid gets the crash, so that's a big win in his books.
And he does, but is Countess going to maybe be able to capitalize? It does not look like so, as Tekken the Kid on the Richter is going to be playing far back, while Lakenator and Crazy Fool are going to be playing pretty far up within that dual lane. Seems like things have kind of mellowed out for the time being. Good for these players and good for us, but what's going to be great is Mav potentially being able to get a pickup off of this rotation. If we see Jay and Toasty push out too quickly here, they do have some wards on the map, but none that may have picked up the rampage here. So as he lays in wait, Toasty is going to find him and just send him running back into the jungle, as Crazy Fool now capitalizes. Gag Grenade in combination with the Ricochet coming out of Toasty is going to be enough to buy him life as he dances away. Lakenator uses his blink and hop pursuit. He's looking for a takedown, and he will find it, but now he is deep in enemy lines, as Lakenator is going to utilize the Blast Flower, just missing it off the edge, and now it's going to be looking for a way out. Jay, Hot Pursuit is going to be able to walk him down. Rad rounds active, HP low. Lakenator is all but certain to fall here, but if he can maybe make it across the river, he can survive. Grady using Yell says, hey man, you don't get to dive right across our jungle and live. Inside says yes he does, as Lakenator walks his way across the map. A little bit of a world tour. He survives.
And we can definitely see that this is the for fun game. This is the game 3. This is not necessarily the highest competitive predecessor that we've seen so far. It is about having a good time as we are just watching those players duke it out in the third game. Game has already been decided for Dawn side, because even if they lose this one, it's 2-1. But we can see it's just about showcasing sort of the mechanical skills, those outplays coming in from both of those teams. And definitely once we get those level 6 rolling in, once all those ultimate abilities are available as well, I'm expecting more and more of those team fights to happen, because Ego, we've only seen a tiny bit of fighting, 11 kills, 8 minutes in.
And I am very sure that we are going to see an absolute surplus of it. I know that little bit of a scuffle they had within the early did not satiate the violence both of these teams feel, and we're going to see that as Toasty is going to be looking for the smoke here. Immediately, a ventilator is going to get utilized in order to try to burst down some of that HP, but Grady onto the backline is going to count Lakenator out of this fight on the Countess. Not quite done yet. It will be a secondary kill, but not before Zinx does get picked up, making it a 2-for-1. Now with Mav inside, having had bait their rotations over, it is going to be a shadow slip onto the back end, finding themselves in the back pocket of the side. It'll be a solid damage translation, but not nearly enough on either side to have the kill potentiality be high.
Mav not connecting with the rock, importantly making sure that Jay is going to be able to walk it off. Epi Picker is going to come into the river. Mav is in the front line, does not have the beam up, but Seismic Assault not connecting, and with that Mav should be able to just walk it off.
And he will walk it off indeed, as now Sai is going to be looking for a back. Lakenator is going to still be looking for a way to get back to his original lane. Now clearing out the mid. He may have to deal with the rotation coming from this Bellica, but it doesn't look like there's going to be any kills here immediately.
Yeah, no kills happening. A lot of fighting on that left-hand side of the map. Right-hand side, very safe. Steal against Richter, it's really hard to actually get a solo kill there. Also, Lockdown is not really there to get the kill fast enough, especially since both of those players do go the tanky route. So that Richter and that Steal are just gonna look to scale up on the right-hand side for those incoming team fights, for those objective takes, as Gretty again looking towards the left-hand side.
Yeah, and he will find a member. It is going to be the Decker, suffering at the hands of the Shadow Slip, as the Countess does equate a lot of damage onto him, but not enough to be able to lock down the kill there. It is going to be an easy enough reset for Crazy Fool to either make his way back to base or back to lane, seeming to being more comfortable with making his way back to the ladder, still playing past that Shadow Veil. It is going to be Mav who maybe tries to set up a long-range boulder for some kill potential, but instead is going to set up around that Fangtooth pick with Iggy and start the objective.
Yeah, and with that Iggy providing the damage together with the Twin Blast, this one should go down with no contest. Toast actually walking in, gets stunned up.
Oh man, this could be a body here, as Sai is going to be utilizing the ult. It is now going to be a jump in coming out of map with that ulti being up. He has a lot of HP to get through, but they're not going to be too through with him, as it is only going to be a pick onto the downside team. On the side, Jay being able to get a kill onto Sai will result in Sai ultimately getting the trade onto Jay. A lot of action going down here over into the duo lane, as the Fangtooth ultimately falls into the pockets of Team Dusk.
Yeah, they get the Fangtooth, they get the 2-for-1 trade, so all in all, really good for them. Lorba, in the meanwhile, did get a bit of alone time on that right-hand side, while Tekken Kid was making sure to shove in the mid-wave. Now with Richter and Rampage, both of them looking at Lorba. This might be a bit dangerous.
Lorba, you're not a liability, but you are in the danger zone, as it is going to be a bull rush in order to create a little bit of space for himself. It will not be much. The shield is going to go up, only to maybe buy themselves a little bit of time by utilizing the blink. It does force the boulder out, and now with Grady and Toasty on the rotation, it does give us a little bit of a reversal of the numbers. A 1v2 now, a 3v2 will force the blink out of Mav in the stead of Toasty and Grady making their presence known. Sai, though, now it's going to be able to even it up to a 3v3 situation if we see Lobber and Toasty maybe looking to take it. It is now Tekken looking for a Whiplash, but ultimately will not find it, resulting in this being a whole lot of fighting, but no kills being gathered onto the board.
Tekken Kids playing this a bit too passive in my opinion. Iggy is making the wraparound and Richter does have the blink and the ultimate up, does not invest either one of them. Forces Rampage to actually use that blink himself to disengage from that fight. All in all, I think this could have been sort of an option for them to try to break open the game wide, get a big teamfight win, especially with mana bars being that low. Epi pick in the mid lane might be caught.
It is going to be a knock-up coming out of Appy Pick, but the result may be him just getting sat down as Sai does get the kill. Now evening up the kill score. It is going to be 9-9. Boulder comes out but does not find purchase onto Grady. We see Dusk surrounding this tier 1, threatening it, and with Mav making the rotation over as well, it feels inevitable that this is going to fall.
Definitely it's gonna fall. So first tier 1 in the mid lane claimed over by the Dusk team on the the Dusk team on the Dawn side. I think that is how we are gonna call it. Now Mini Prime started up, Iggy setting up the turret, only Lobber there.
Lobber, though, we've seen him do a lot in these situations before, but this is a very big ask as the Bull Rush does come out, but ultimately it is going to be the Dust Side team who does get the objective and possibly a kill to come along with it as Grady does go down, but that's going to only be for the first time with the recovery coming from the Zincs. That ulti is going to be big, but the CC coming out of the steel could potentially be bigger. It's a rundown, it's a chase down, it's a sushi roll where the Rampage once stood as he is going to fall to what is going to be a 1-3 trade going in favor of Team Dawn on the Dusk side.
On Team Dawn on the Dusk side, indeed. Meanwhile, Lakenator on the left-hand side did get a bit of damage onto that tier 1 turret. It also deny a few minion waves over. I think there we could again see the strength of that Zincs, able to stun multiple people each team fight. Toasty is piloting that one again, using that ricochet really effectively, and then also getting that revive onto the counters, onto Gratty, that even if you get the health bars blinking red, it just doesn't really matter, because if you pop them, they are gonna come back alive, as we did see before in the team fight. At least the Mini Prime was picked up for the Dusk team on Dawn. I think, no, actually on the other side, right. But the Mini Prime being traded out for 3 kills, probably not the most optimal choice.
Now we are going to see Tekken and Lobber doing solo laner things, and that's just going to be throwing a little bit of damage at each other. A little bit of CC, though, coming out of Lobber, giving him some shield to sustain himself within these trades. But in the mid lane, we are going to see things starting to cook as Mav is going to utilize that leap in order to get an engage. The Plasma Ball is going to be offline, though, so no CC to set up for a kill coming out of Crazy Fool, as now we may see the blue side team, or the Dusk on the blue side team, looking for prio of this Fang Pit.
I'm really expecting Seismic to make the rotation over a bit earlier. For the Iggy, it's really important to set up inside of the pit. The Richter is there to shove in the wave anyways, so you don't want to drop the mid wave. You also want to get those objectives. Does look like they have complete river control. They should just be able to make it in. Might just be a 5v5 again, this time with everybody there. Lakenator as well. Gratty in the front line.
Now it's going to be a lockdown of another objective here, as over the top side it is going to be a Skewer that seems to be catching 3. Tekken the Kid is not kidding around, but is it going to be enough? The answer is going to only temporarily be yes, as Countess is going to fall, but there's a lot of low HP bars, so I have to presume this isn't the end, and it's very presumptuous of Jay to think he's going to get the damage off to get a kill there. That's going to be a 4-0 going in favor of the Dusk team.
The only difference to the Mini Prime fight was that, first of all, Iggy was able to set up those turrets inside of the pit, but more importantly, Lakenator was there this time around. Did secure the tier 1 tower before on the left hand side, and now had a big money injection and could immediately use that to win that team fight for his own team, for the Dusk team on the Dawn side. Lorba is looking for Lakenator though.
Not going to find it, especially with Mav there to play defense, at least for the time being, as now it might cost Mav lives to save Lake's name. Your son after me, says Mav after he falls, so Lakeinator can live.
Yeah, but we're looking at the map and we see this stuff honestly doesn't matter too much. Tier 2 still secured over towards Lakeinator. Tier 1 on the right hand side as we are spectating, secured by Tekken Kid. Seismic able to take a few jungle camps, take the blue buff away from the counters that really needs it in the jungle. Only level 10 so far has not had the impact that she did have in that second game.
Yeah, and I'm expecting, all of these players, extremely competent, extremely skilled, by far gaps me an insurmountable amount of space in any predecessor game where I am unlucky enough to have to lane against them in the lobbies. So I am sure that over the course of the game, if there's an opportunity, as you said, for this Countess to be able to utilize that farm and shore it up in other spaces, such as in lane, maybe on a quick pick, they will. But I'm going to be honest with you here, Tang, as we are going to be now scaling our way far from the early game into the mid game, I am very comfortable with both of these teams looking for the scrap and now looking like they found it, as Mav is going to suffer a bull rush within the mid lane. That is going to be the blast line to get 3 members. Mav is helping his team burst down these HP bars, which ultimately is going to lend themselves to being able to get a kill on not 1 but 4 members in the blink of an eye. Toasty is going to be the sole survivor for the time being, but that Riplash is going to be back up soon. And with Tekken the Kid present, I have to assume the question isn't if Toasty will fall, it's who is going to knock him down. And the answer is ultimately going to be a pickup from, I think, Tekken the Kid.
Yeah, Toasty watched a lot of basketball, but still jump not as high to get over that wall, just barely with those Galaxy Greaves picked up. But Ego, what I want to mention in that fight is Crazy Fool finding the craziest engage in this game so far, finding the backline, using that Rift Walker together with that stun that he has in his kit, using the Deca Ball together with his ultimate ability as well, getting a big chunk of damage onto the Epic Picker, onto the Drongo as well that Jay is piloting, and winning that team fight pretty much single-handedly when it was actually the Dawn team overstepping just a slightly bit in the mid lane. Lorba was looking for the rotation, Lorba was looking for the backline access, but in the end it was his backline that was accessed. Now Big Prime has spawned 20 minutes and 30 seconds in the game. Drongo on the left hand side, a lot of objective damage with that Iggy. This might just be an insta start, Ego.
100% Iggy already set up, and with a pretty solid lead on Fangtooth, they are in a position where they can get this rolling. Lobber looking to put that momentum to a stop, though, as he is going to enter the general vicinity of the pit, and Appy Picker is going to immediately get a pick on the playmaker from the last team fight. Being Crazy Fool is not going to be quite over, though, as Dawn team does get the steal onto it. It is now going to be Lobber playing the space pretty up close, as Sai is going to be looking for the kill that he will find ulti in order to face the space from Grady, and as such it does look like this is going to be a full reset after the objective has fallen.
Yeah, but the question is, can they actually reset? Toasty is hunting, is gonna get the lockdown onto Mav, is gonna be forced to pop that BMF with that one Epi Picker, taking another rock to the forehead. It's gonna mean that Mav, Seismic and Lakeinator should just barely make it to safety, but it was a flip, but it was a flip that was supposed to be in favor of the Dusk team. In the end, it is Dawn striking back, getting that Big Prime objective. Big steal coming in from Gratty, securing that Big Prime. And with that one, you gotta think that they are in the prime position to get that Fangtooth off the back end of this as well. It is the third one. This one is gonna be important.
Now, last game, they got to play with the 3-0 Fangtooth power, and they most definitely are not going to want to play against it, as now we do get to see Jay possibly looking to play the space on a pickup, but not before Appy Picker picks up and puts down Crazy Fool with, I may say, a little bit of crazy damage. Knockup coming out onto Tekken the Kid is going to force him to grow up fast. Now a pickup coming out of Jay. Then there was where Tekken stood as the rest of Team Dawn is going to be making a rotation onto the Fangtooth. Mav is going to have to look for the hero play. Granny's done it now. Can you? The answer is going to be no. What you can and what you need to do, though, is run. And the damage is going to run you down. That's going to be 3 kills and a Fangtooth going in favor of the Dawn team.
Never counts them out. They find the teamfight in the Prime Pit, they find the teamfight in the Fangtooth Pit, and now they're looking to escape from Lorber, actually run down Lorber. It's gonna be a bit juicy. Lakenates and no mana left against Lorber that does have Gretty close by as well, just easily picked up in the Dawn side jungle. Dusk on the ropes.
Dusk on the ropes indeed. After a very solid start, we have seen a surge coming back from the Dawn on the Dusk side team. As such, it doesn't feel like this game is quite over yet, but we have seen that Dawn, when they have full control of those reins, they have not dropped it, at least in their performances today. Tekken not dropping the opportunity to hit a big Riplash there. Epoch getting dropped in order to buy himself a little bit of time. Happy Picker is able to pick apart the engage chosen by the other team, resulting in Jay picking up another kill, and Dawn seizing the kill lead.
It's just things keeping Epipicker alive forever. Good stasis usage there coming in from the Bellica as well, but I think the main reason why he managed to survive there was just the revive, together with the healing, together with everything that things can do, getting that ricochet stun on a bunch of members as well. It's just so hard to play into, honestly. When I see that hero in solo queue, I'm not smiling, because I know it's just gonna be so hard to access those backline members, as we just saw with that Bellica. But honestly, going back to like all the team fights, all the action that has been happening here over the past 2 minutes, I think all in all we are still sort of in a stalemate. Dusk side team was really strong in the early game this time around. Dawn side did come back in those last 2 team fights, Ego, but I think in total I still wouldn't give them like the big lead in this game, right? Like no third Fangtooth has been claimed for either one of those teams. The Prime has been taken by the Dawn side team before, but they couldn't really open up the map with it. So I think it's gonna be this next round of big objective spawning that is gonna decide in which direction this game will go.
I can agree with what you just said anymore. It does feel like there's going to be a surplus of importance put on this next big objective fight. There's been this constant tug going either way of the momentum, of the pressure for this game. And now both of these teams have shown they're very capable of doing it to the other. But it has to come down with something that you can elongate and expand that lead on. Just getting a pick or two isn't going to be enough within a lot of these situations. You need to be able to get these picks. And as you said, Tang, open up the map, be able to lock down those tier 2s, maybe even an inhibitor at this point, as we're moving out of the mid game and starting to make our way closer and closer to that full late game where people are going to have majority of their items on. And I mean, HP bars are going to start getting popped, as we're seeing here. Lakenator finds himself in an altercation, and if Mav wasn't present, he would find himself back at the fountain. Lobber possibly has something to say about that, but with Iggy being able to pilfer him, it will instead once again be Mav who gives his life for that of the carry. And we're not quite out of the woods yet, as Crazy Fool is super low, and with Abby Picker waiting in the woods, he will be able to fight a kill, not onto the support, but the carry himself. Tekken, far lane, looking to push in hips as his team is falling in the left.
Somebody check Abby Picker's PC. What was that? Hitting the seismic assault across the shadow wall, connecting with that RMB as well to seal the deal. Now another few carries into Dawn's side. Tekken Kid was just shoving on that right hand side. Did get the tier 2 for his trouble, but sold out his entire team for it. I think 3 carries for 0 in that longer engage, and now also having the prime position to start up that big objective. Rampage still only over towards that red buff, might not make it in time with all 5 members of Dawn of the Dawn team hammering down on.
It is starting to look like Dawn is going to be looking for that 3-0, but Tekken the Kid is going to be doing everything he can to stop it. Epoch coming out, seismic assault off to the back end of it will not connect, but will threaten the opposition, will threaten Dusk enough to get them to look for a disengage. And we're not going to see any kills. No members are going to fall down quite yet.
It's so frustrating to see. Again, a good hook connects onto Epi Picker, but by the time the stasis expired that he immediately pressed, he gets another heal from Sinks, just topping him off quite enough to make it out of safety from that. The beam coming in from the Decker, so frustrating to play against, and now it has been started. The Primal Fang.
Ooh, this is sneaky, and they are absolutely burning through it. There's no real hope that they stop this, but there is an opportunity for them to get a little bit of a get back, as already 2 members have fallen, as Decker and Richter are going to bite the Dust. Lakenator, once again, playing the space off of the back end, is going to be relegated to a space where he's just going to have to watch his teammates slowly start to fall. But that is still Primordial Blaze on Decker and on Rampage, as well as the Iggy. Not the worst position to be in.
Definitely not, and it looked like a bit of a desperation play, but honestly surviving with 3 members denies the push by the Dawn team by quite a bit. They're still gonna try it in the mid lane, but with Primal Fang up on those carries, it's gonna be really hard to walk it.
They may be looking for a way out, as Mav does get a little bit of an engage, but onto his back line. Lakenator's just gone, man. The HP bar might as well not even be there. It's a placeholder, a timer for returning him back to the fountain if he's allowed to keep getting dived on like this. Lobber, though, heading up the charge, as we are going to see multiple members of Dawn ushering up behind him. It looks like neither side is ready quite for the engage, but whenever the other one's does, they're going to be able to react on time, and as such, there goes Bull Rush, initiated on the inside, and in response, a Riplash onto a different backliner is going to give them a kill. Now, dang, it's going to just be a run at Toasty as the Decker stun, the skewer lands, and another kill is going to be ushered into the pockets of the Dusk team.
That's exactly the danger of overstaying against the Primal Fang. Toasty there at the end utilizing his own ultimate to get a bit more movement speed, hopefully make it around the corner, but Mav with the big rock in his hand says, no, you are gonna stay here, you are gonna belong to me now. And good pickup by the Dusk team, managing to survive the push. 2 inhibs down still, but Ego, one good thing they managed to do was, while they did get the Primordial Blaze, the 3rd Fangtooth, the big Fangtooth, they also got those permanent buffs now. I think that is quite overlooked. 2 inhibs down, honestly, is not the worst at this stage of the game. Iggy can pretty much one-shot them. Richter is having a jolly old time against them as well, just using his shock therapy against it, should be able to clear out those waves quite easily. But that permanent buff that the Fang Booth gives you, this one is not gonna expire.
They're going to be able to carry that on over, and it'll add some degree of increased difficulty, right, for this Dawn side team. But there's been a lot of difficult situations up to this point they've come across. Nonetheless, this is Lakenator Mav's best opportunity to be able to maybe win out on this game, being able to stack those passives up until the point to where maybe they can get the Dawn side to crumple underneath the pressure of some of their better team fights. As for when it happens, I mean, dang, we're just gonna have to wait to see.
We're gonna have to wait and see, and we're not gonna have to wait long, because that Prime is gonna be the next objective that is gonna be up. We see both teams wanting to fight for river control. Mav is gonna be able to walk in, as the Rampage does have enough sustain to get rid of most of that hard CC while not having to scoff at it too much. But we see Dawn team grouping up 4 members. That is a death ball if I've ever seen one, and Dawn respecting it so much, or Dusk team on Dawn I should say, but Twin Blast might be a bit caught out. So is Rampage.
Jesus! That's your... That guy is supposed to be able to eat the damage, and he was absolutely eviscerated within an instant. Popped goes the Rampage, as now Dawn has gotten a key pick that may allow for them to push up onto these lanes, maybe make a play for this far side inhib, or if they continue being able to death ball, even make a play for the game tank.
Lorber does have his ultimate up. We can see him play in the front line. He knows exactly the second that Lakinator steps up on the Twin Blast with no blink up, he would be there to pounce. But a lot of respect shown still. But it is gonna give the Dawn team prime position for that big prime to be opened up. Now, you see them rotate over. They want to make sure that they have vision on both of those objectives. If you are ahead at 32 minutes in the game, you never want to trade out that prime for the Primal Fang, because that Primal Fang actually gives you that team fighting prowess that the big prime sometimes doesn't quite give.
Yeah, that prime is going to be able to give you some pushing potential, but that primordial blaze is going to give you something a little bit more key, and that's going to be the ability to defend against it or just melt the opposition. As now we're going to see that melting take place, and there's no Fang Tooth required as Grady does get the last hit onto the Iggy and Scorch Lobber with the double hit into the Bull Rush. Lakinator now separated away from his team. He is going to be able to create the space necessary to get away from the ulti, but not all of the damage. It's not one member down, it's two, now made three. It's quick maths because they are adding up the damage and finding value. This squad in Dawn is just so good at getting picks, and it doesn't look like Dusk has an answer.
It really doesn't. The only thing they can do is take those waves, make sure that it is the Dawn team not able to end quite yet, but honestly, they're just mainly buying time. The Primal Fang Tooth will go down any minute now, then they should be able to transition that lead into that prime, and once those double bubble buffs come in at 34 minutes in the game, they are already maxed out. That Primal Fang deals about as much damage as it will ever deal, and it's gonna be so hard to defend. Math, we can see in the red side jungle, might be forced to look into a hero's play, because you gotta think that for the Dusk team, if they were to fight against both of those big objectives, there's just no hope for them to defend their base.
This is the worst case scenario for you being a frontliner. You need to be able to engage. You need to be able to also set your team up to be able to follow behind you. But in the face of this much damage, you're having a hard time just protecting the backline. I mean, we saw it there. Mav looking for an engage. I mean, he found it, but he found so much more than what he was looking for. It feels like Dawn at this point are working like mathematicians. They are subtracting problems and getting a result that is merely positive on every aspect. Hank, I'm not personally too sure what Dusk can do to really stop this from being a steamroll being kicked into the core, but maybe they do.
Yeah, I think one guy they really need to watch out for is Gratty on that counters. He, like, after that early game, he has just been finding plays after plays, always able to make it to the backline, and then with that counters, that assassin kit that he has, was able to just one-shot Lakinator over and over again, not really able to participate in those fights. We see them slowly but surely playing 3 lanes. They watch out in the mid lane, make sure that they are not gonna be the ones getting caught, but the left lane pushes on its own, and the right lane is gonna be pushed in by Bellica. Right lane, a tier 2 still remaining. It's also gonna be the last inhib that is gonna fire back, because the ones in the mid lane, the ones on the left lane are both fake.
Yeah, they're just there to be there. However, Tekken is going to be the one to get things started with a big Riplash now, bringing Steel to that 50% threshold on the HP, while the rest of his team in Tosi and Grady may be looking for a split push to take down those fake inhibs coming out of the mid lane. This is a terrible situation to be in, as Dusk having to split your attention. It's going to take everything and maybe even a little bit more to be able to get one lockdown kill. But hey, here comes the corral, here comes the minions, and here comes the Dawn, now just surrounding and easily taking these inhibs one by one.
But the only hope is that what Mugi says remains true. It's hard to shove in against the Iggy and Twin Blast combination that have so much wave clear, but honestly against double buffed up minions, this is gonna be a nightmare to defend against.
And with the setup damage, it is going to be an epoch that immediately is going to get used coming out of Vappy Picker. Very aware as the Seismic Assault is going to be able to lay it on the 2. And immediately Crazy Fool just gets eviscerated back to the fountain. Now Mav onto the backside as his core is getting backed down in the face of the DPS, the damage, the gusto coming out of Dawn does at least make it a trade, as Steel does go down, but right now it's a 2-for-1 Zinc, also very low, but still with access to that ulti, it will not be able to get cast as 70 seconds is going to get put on her cooldown timer. And as you said, this Iggy is difficult to push into. It is going to be even harder as he has 2 tanks in a 3v3 situation.
They're on the ropes, but they're making it happen. They can't really push anymore. They don't have the Primal Fang on top of them, only the Prime buff, so Mav should hopefully be able to survive the shot coming in. Gratty might be caught.
Die! Ulti coming out of the Iggy, but now with the team fight split, they're going to be able to get the pick. It does cost Sai his life, and as such, the clear, and it has to be assumed that this is going to be the conclusion to the game as Appy and Jay are going to lay waste and put damage down onto the map. Maybe not able to get a kill, though, as Crazy Fool is going to be backed up a 1v3 situation. This is going to take a hell of a play, and it's a hell of a probability, but we will see. Jay is known to make plays, and he will at least take one with him, as all 5 members of Dawn are going to be down, at least for a couple more seconds.
And this is definitely a fun game to cast, a fun game to watch. The Dawn team not able to finish off the core quite yet. Half HP, 40, I think 8%. I can actually not see it correctly. 41, I think it is, but really close there to finish it off. Seismic actually going in very deeply, like almost able to escape there, but at least managing to trade it out 1-for-1. Now Lorba is in the front line, is actually getting shredded by Lakenator. Needs to be a bit careful, is running away, hits by Rock.
Yeah, and I don't think he is going to fall here. Being able to utilize that bull rush in combination with his ult, it just creates space, reset, and let's be honest, run away is 100% the play there. Now, though, regrouping with Zinx on this Toasty may result in them possibly threatening the steal, but with the members they have present, it does feel like this thing is going to burn fast and hard, and with no way to really outsecure the smite coming from Av, it is going to lend the heat over into the hands of that Dust Side team unless something comes to stop it. Nothing will, though, as Mav ultimately does help his team secure the objective, looking to get over the wall. He won't, and now he's a fish in the bowl, and this little guppy is at risk of drowning in the face of this much damage. He's just going to try to look away until the cooldown comes back up and he can get out.
That was a very spicy fight. I'm not gonna lie, Seismic had to clear waves, like they were pressuring down the core, so it was actually a 3 versus 3 there. Gratty made it in time, but this time around not able to find the outsmite against Mav that we did see in those previous few objective fights. In the end, everybody managing to escape. Decker and Twin Blast both had to invest a blink to get away. Steel also before had to blink away when he was caught in the middle lane. Talking about getting caught, Seismic, good night, goodbye. Lorba, the front line as well. Lakenator totally caught out.
Me personally, I wouldn't allow that one, man. I'd consider that one a bit of a violation. I am a person and my hands are on the keys. Let me play now. Gratty looking to continue the momentum moving forward. It is going to be a blink into the ulti. Crazy Fool is oh so very low, and he is oh so very dead as he gets burned down in the face of the damage. That's going to be 3 members of Dusk. We're not going to be here to defend this core, just barely above that 50% threshold, as it is going to start getting push. This is going to have to be a hell of a dream shake play coming out of Mav and Tekken to defend this against the onslaught of damage from Lobber, from Gratty, from Appy Picker, who are looking to put an end to this game. And a potential 3-0. There'll be an engage onto Mav, a shadow slip in order to secure a little bit more, but with the boulder readied up on the back end, it will not be enough for Tekken the Kid to give it up. At the end of the day, though, the tail ring shoe is going to be a 3-0 going in favor of the Dawnside squad.
They get the 3-0. It was just a second away from that left inhib to also respawn to make it sort of a bit longer of a game. But honestly, Dawnside, after that shaky early game, completely able to 180 the entire game plan, able to win all of those team fights, get those objectives when it counted. And honestly, Gratty I thought he was going to be a bit of a weak spot, but honestly, he was absolutely smurfing it that game. On the counters in game 2, in game 3, absolutely on fire. Always having the number of Lakenator and helping the Dawn team to get a deserved victory.
There are only two things guaranteed within a MOBA, I like to say. The first thing is the early game, where we saw the Dusk team actually performing very solidly. The second thing, though, is Happy Picker popping off. Man, these guys are so good. These players, top of the line mechanically, and I am looking forward to seeing what else they're going to be able to bring as we roll into the next PCC event, hopefully coming soon. At the end of the day, though, this is going to be a 3-0 win for the Dawn side, and this has been Ego. It's been Tang. It's been the PCC All-Stars, and I'm excited to see what Dusk has to say.
Thank you so much, Tang and Ego. We are back at the desk with Mugi and Robbie. We just watched game 3, and that game was definitely closer compared to the previous two. It could have gone either way for either team, but ultimately Dawn showed that they were the better team, and they are your All-Stars winners. Mugi and Robbie, what happened in game 3?
Well, so much happened in game 3. Like, we can say that Dawn win the best of 5. That way we're kind of clean. And when it comes to it, like, actually Dusk was dominating the early game. Like, they started to really like pull out. They were like doing all the objective. It was working wonderfully until Gratty said like, yeah, it's not only import that can like shifts games around by stealing like big objective. I can do it as well. And that still was actually like,
yeah,
that's what allowed Dawn to be able to exist in that match, because then they can secure the third Fang Tooth with the advantage of the all prime, and then suddenly the match was like very tough. On top of that, still like that defense at the end by the Dusk team, like trying to go for the end, managing to find a primal Fang Tooth, and then unfortunately here we don't really fully regroup, get picked up, and suddenly the game is lost. But it could have gone either way. It was a banger of a match.
Yeah, that was definitely a much better game compared to the second one from the Dust team. I think the draft definitely helped them out a lot, but Grady just played incredible. I guess they didn't learn about the counters from game 2 because he was doing extremely well. Yeah, really enjoyed that game. I thought both teams played extremely well, but you know, the traditional draft helped them out a lot, but ultimately I don't think they were strong enough.
There were a few memorable moments in that game, and mine was definitely watching Lakenator run away from Grady and Jay. He went all the way from red buff, all the way to blue buff on the enemy side, then congregated with Seismic by the river buff. He was the boy who lived. What were your favorite moments, or do you have any highlights you want to talk about from that last match?
Well, of course, we have to mention the pit fight at the first minute of the match. That was amazing. Like, to be fair, I'm gonna ask like the people organizing the PCC if that could be a rule enforced in every single PCC match in the future. They have to start the game that way. That would be like amazing. But yeah, like that moment was great. That's why we love All-Star events, is to be able to do these type of things, and kudos to the player to actually come up with that idea, because it was wonderful to watch.
Yes.
Yeah, my favorite moment was definitely, you know, that was great, but yeah, the getaway, that was insane. And then Iggy coming out using his ult to push him back, and then Grady almost getting the kill. And also, you know, Grady gets that early kill, and then we know what happens once he starts to snowball. So I think that was a very pivotal moment that he was able to get away, and Grady not picking up the kill. And they, you know, I think the enemy carry also used Blink to chase after and wasn't able to get it. So that was a really exciting chase. And if Grady had gotten that kill, I think the game could have been very different.
There was also another moment where I just have to mention it, where Toasty tried to get away as Zinx, and he tried to jump over the wall, but it was just not enough. And then the last moment when Mav was kind of, his jump failed him as he was trying to get out of the Fang Tooth pit there. But anyways, unfortunately this time we have to say goodbye to you, Mugi. Mugi, it was a pleasure to have you here. Any parting words for us here at PCC?
It's always a pleasure to be there. Like, thanks for all the organization, for like all you do for the community. Thanks for having me, and thanks for the player for like taking some times to give us like those great games that we enjoyed all together.
Thank you, Mugi. That was such a fun game. And thanks to the players who joined us today. And I know you want more fun. So up next is our PCC staff versus Team Dawn. Let's take a short break. Hello gamers, welcome back to the PCC All-Stars Event. We have a new face joining us here with Robbie and I. Please join me in welcoming one of our notable casters in the game with his first time appearance at the PCC desk, the medical professional, Dr. Shadow. How are you?
Hello, hello. I am doing fantastic. We love Pred, and I'm so thrilled to be here on the desk today. This is my favorite game, probably of all time, and I love this community, and I'm just over the moon that I get to sit here with the CEO, my CEO.
My CEO in chat. But Team Dawn is the first winner of our first ever All-Stars event. And we're going to have a fun little match between some of our PCC staff versus them. How are we feeling going to this last match of the day?
It's gonna be a game, that's for sure. I know some of the staff members playing, some of them I don't, so maybe I'll be surprised. But the ones who are playing that I know, I have very low expectations. But I mean, especially after watching Team Dawn just absolutely steamroll all three of those games, I am terrified for the PCC staff.
Yeah, me too. I think Dawn really, had an extremely great performance in all three games. If they let Grady play Countess, it might be over pretty soon. I'm hoping the PCC staff members will do pretty well, but I think Dawn definitely showed, why they won three out of three.
Let's cut to the chase, shall we? Choice, please bring up the draft. And so we're going into our last game of the day. Is Dawn going to be nice to the PCC staff? We'll have to see if, or maybe they'll pull up like a cooking strategy like Team Dusk. What do you guys think?
I'm hoping Team Dawn is a little generous to the PCC staff and does something spicy like a Narbash jungle or something. But I don't know that much about what the PCC staff are going to be bringing into this game. I know they're gonna come in with their sights set on kicking the All-Star team butt, but I genuinely could not tell you their strategy.
Yeah, I would like to see some interesting stuff coming out of the Dawn side. We've seen them play in three serious games, but I think this one is just a bit more for fun. So I'd like to see some more interesting strategies. Now's the time to be cooking in the draft. It wasn't in the last three games, but now you can really cook in the draft. So I hope we see some really interesting choices.
And going into the PCC staff roster, just to let everybody know, it's HD Philly B, Noctisera, Trix, Woofy Gigi, and Secret Salsa. But looking at this draft, the first ban from Team Dawn is actually going to be the Zinks. They don't want the Zinks in the PCC staff's hands. They're taking that away off of the board. Bear with us as we kind of figure out the graphics, but that is our first ban.
I'm bummed with that because something I was actually looking forward to seeing was a spicy off-roll use of the Zinx hero, whether in mid lane, whether ADC, whether off lane, probably not jungle. But, in pubs and even in ranked games, we're seeing Zinx kind of being thrown around in different spots. So I really wanted to see her used in one of those capacities. But for the side of PCC, they're going to ban, the staff are going to ban Gideon, take him out of the equation, and both teams are whipping out their mid laners here.
Oh yeah, interesting. They've gone for gadgets, obviously mid lane. Although I have seen people be taking gadget support, and then you've got Argus, who could also go mid lane and support. And then of course on the Dawn side we have Iggy. Iggy's a lot of fun. I actually think the Dusk side picked up Iggy in 2 games, but now Dawn are picking it up. So really interesting to see the Iggy. Grux as well. I think Grux is a great pick. So these are looking quite interesting already.
Oh no, I'm seeing I'm seeing the Grux and I'm seeing the Fang Mao, and I'm just thinking, oh no, are they going to Grux all over our staff? And is Grady going to be playing Fang Mao? And we know how good of a jungler Grady is, but he's exceptional as a jungler, and we saw what he was able to do with Countess. But Feng Mao as a hero, he's mobile, he deals a lot of damage, so he's able to engage and disengage right away. So already looking at Team Dawn's team, it's looking very scary. But over on the staff team, they're locking in that Decker.
The staff team going for the comfort pick with Decker and the discount Decker in the form of Argus. They're definitely going for the heavy CC comp, which is really good against a Feng Mao. If you can hit your first stun, then you're guaranteed to hit your second and your third stun. But yeah, the Grux kind of worries me. I mean, at least it's not a Countess or a Crunch coming out. Both of those would terrify me going up against Grady. For the second Banzo, we are seeing they're going to take Drongo. The Dawn side is going to take Drongo off the board because they just don't want to deal with the insane damage that he pumps out with rad rounds. And the side of the PCC, they're taking Zaris out because I don't know why. But they're going to actually whip out the Severog, who for a period of time we weren't seeing too much of other than in the hands of Lauber. But now we get to see the staff use him to maybe teach Lauber how to play Severog.
That's right.
Yeah, I think the PCC's draft is pretty good. I think Gadget, Deca, you can combo the ults and the containment fence there. Sparrow for the Dawn side, I think that's a good pick, but there's a lot of CC on the PCC side. You got the Severog route, you got the Deca, you've got all four heroes. And I think Sparrow, one of those heroes that doesn't have as much mobility. He basically has none other than the Flash. So it's a really interesting choice. And then the Wraith is another interesting choice. So I wonder maybe it's an Iggy support.
Grux support.
Grux support, perhaps. So Iggy offlane, Grux support with Sparrow and Wraith in the mid, and Feng Mao jungle? Question mark? Is what we're seeing from Dawn's side. That's a lot of damage already when you're looking at the Dawn's team comp. Robbie, you mentioned that the PCC staff team has a lot of crowd control. And I'm actually curious why they banned the Zaris as well, jumping off of what you said, Shadow, earlier. But it would have been nice to see that microwave combo with the Colosseum, right? But, we've got the cage from the Decker. There's a lot of crowd control, hoping that the Gadget is able to scale and deal a lot of damage on the PCC staff team. But we're just missing that last member, that last hero.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to go for. I mean, Severog is flexible, right? You can put him in the jungle, you can put him in the off lane, which means that there's a whole host of different heroes that they could pick. And there's the Countess. So the Countess, again, you don't really see her in the off lane too much. You're generally going to see her in the jungle. But you never know. You never know what kind of spicy things the staff team might be cooking up. We know the tech. We know the EU tech. We got the NA tech. We got the South American tech. We got all the tech in the world together. So who knows what we're going to be whipping out. Yeah, and I hope it's a Grux support because I know chat has been begging for that all day today. That's my hopes here.
Yeah, I think the Countess is a pretty good pick. It's going to depend on who Dawnside have as a support. But when you think about that Sparrow and that Wraith, they don't really have much help. If it's Grok support, then you have some good CC there. But if it's Iggy, there's nothing really there other than Iggy's ult to kind of stop the Countess. So that Countess, if she gets ahead or she starts to snowball, she could become a real problem. But if they have the Grok support, maybe that's all the CC you need.
Looking at this team comp from the staff team, there's no ADC, so maybe it's gonna be a Decker ADC question mark. But this is our last game of the day. Let's cheer for the PCC crew and Team Dom. It's time to welcome F6 and Lance.
Yo, what is going on, ladies and gents? It's your boy F6, joined with the OG, my main man, Lance. How are we doing today, bud?
I am so good. I am thankful for the sacrificial lambs for Team PCC that decided to put themselves up against the All-Star team. I don't know what they were thinking. Gluttons for punishment, but I think this is going to be a blast, F6.
It's gonna be fun. I mean, the players are having fun. We're gonna be having fun throughout this desk in this entire segment. The PCC staff came together. We didn't want to put the best of the best out there. We know the egos of some of these players are a little bit high, so we wanted to make sure they're able to come out with maybe a possibility of win. But still, nonetheless, this PC team is stacked to the bones, and I know they're cooking up something because they went all magic here, and maybe we might not look too highly upon it, but I think they're going to come down with something.
And when okay. So I wanted to try to get into this before we got into the game, but it looks like we're ready for it because I was going to talk about the potential of playing Decker into ADC or Decker ADC into the Wraith and the Sparrow at the same time in that lane. But it looks like Toasty doing me a favor. Second time I've got to cast a Grux support game, and it's against Wufia, who I know is very sad about this because I got to cast the last Grux support game ever in professional predecessor competitive play with him.
Hey man, I mean, if anybody can make the Grok support work, I believe it is Tosi. We know he is the man. Already came in with a 3-0 today with the best of the best, showing that he is the #1 support. So we're going to see how he does it, and we're probably going to be seeing a little bit in some of our games.
There is something that needs our priority attention right now, though. This is the Iggy jungle, and he is running the occult crest, right? So watch this guy's crest bar just fly up. He is going to have obelisk by about the 5 or 6 minute mark if things go well for Iggy. You take that obelisk, you start stacking it like crazy, and you get super far ahead early. And as long as they can snowball, which I got a feeling they might be able to do against this team, it'll look really good.
I mean, Iggy jungle, Grok support. Man, this game is about to be interesting, and I cannot wait. We do know, like you said, that obelisk stack is going to be insane going throughout Iggy there, and the cook and the chefs are all here together. As we see now, Toasty looking to try to get a little peek there. Philly not trying to step up, not trying to get pulled on in.
Also worth the mention, we do have Lobber on his second signature hero, Sparrow, this game, playing the ADC role. Jay's in the mid on the Wraith, which is a pretty bad matchup for Gadget, one of the only heroes that can actually match that range. So Salsa go and try hard playing one of the better mid lane heroes and playing somebody he's got the mastery skin for. I think that's about as bad of a matchup as you can get if you're playing Gadget mid.
I mean, I have faith in Salsa. I mean, you can't put tomatoes together, a little bit of spice, a little bit of the dazzle on top of there and not love it. But we see Appy pick over in the off lane, forcing the blink already on Wolfie, not trying to be the first blood put on the board today. But we do know Appy Picker probably went over into that off lane because he was tired of getting ganked in the mid and just not having a fun time.
So it is worth saying, we do have these PCC staff. They're out here. They're kind of up against some pretty tough odds. We need to give them the credit where they are. Let's introduce them in case anybody is not familiar with who any of these PCC people are. We have the Cameron Secret Salsa here right now. He is Choice's production assistant. About to get 1v1 though, so we gotta wait. Or Noct actually comes in. Noct, are they gonna get it? Oh my god, dude, put him on the board! The PCC pulls ahead early. Let's go! Okay, so Salsa, production assistant, comes in, gets ganked by one of our graphics helpers and casters, Noct to Sarah here. HD Philly, who is a caster, gonna get pulled in by the Grux, gonna have to flash himself away. You see Tricks there, one of our observers, and then Woofy over on the Sevarog, a caster. Everybody knows Woofy for his amazing puns, but thank you to Team Lamb or PCC for coming through, playing this game against the All-Stars. Do have the early lead. Let's go, boys. I'm rooting for you.
Early lead. Let's go, baby. TPCC. I told you we are cooking it up over here on the PCC staff, and we got that first blood. And also to point out, Trix also works on the desk. He used to work on the desk a little bit from time to time, and he was definitely out there. But look at him, a little bit low health here. Should have Blink going to have to back up out of here. Still going to be staying alive.
Noct kind of looking over that way, and Woofy's in a spot here. Doesn't have the blink. Appy's got that % health damage on the passive from the Fang Mao, just autoing him. Gonna be a tough spot to play from behind like this. Noct and Ready kind of running into each other. They do have that first blood. I believe it was Secret Salsa who got the bounty for it, though, correct?
I do believe so. Whenever we do get the 10 minute, we're going to be able to see that, though. Either way, though, Countess or Gadget getting that extra gold early is pretty good on them because we know their early game's a little bit rough, and it's going to be any type of economy shift towards them. It's going to help them kind of just thrive in towards that mid game a little bit better.
they do have the advantage. Other than Woofy, these guys are all in their primary roles for the most part. Noct is a fill player, but like Salsa's a hard mid laner. Trix is kind of an ADC, but we got a little bit of fighting. Noctis here ganking again. It's going to be Toasty having to flash away. Mac's going to come in. He's going to dive him again. Nox try-harded. 2-0 Team PCC, baby.
2-0, baby. The 2-0 already. 5 minutes, and PCC is taking it to what everybody thinks is the best team, but we know it is the PCC team. Team Noct is out here to play today as we do get that early game lead.
Oh, I thought these guys, we ended up subbing Tang off of Team PCC pretty late because he was casting the last game, and this one started a little bit before the last one ended on broadcast. And I thought, well, without Tang, there's just no way Team PCC stands a chance, but I might be wrong about this. They're fighting. Toasty here gets the smash and grab onto it. Secret Sauce is going to have to blink away. Jay doesn't land the second knock-knock, but a little bit of pressure. They do secure that river buff for Jay as well.
Hey, dude, forcing the blink out on Gadget was pretty nice for the Wraith in the mid. She's not going to be able to have that with the rewind, but look at Wolfie here taking the trade. Here comes Superhero, not Appy Picker. No mana, forces the flash. Blast Flower is there. Not doesn't have the flash to really follow on up and not going to be able to get that chase down. So Appy should be able to escape here, but look at this. The chase is actually still on Lance.
Yeah, Grady waiting on the opposite wall, gets a couple of the turrets down, but he might not want to be here. Whoopi is still very low, but this Countess is kind of snowballing, is going to pick up another kill for themselves. Now pursuing Appy, still does not have the blink, like we mentioned. Needs to be a little bit afraid of Jay, can really pump some damage out, but knocked at 2-0-1, already have 3 stacks on the passive, just out of the reach of the smash and grab, and Noct might be a hero come the end of the day. I'm just saying it. You might get a little scared. You run into Noct in your solo queue games after this one.
We might have to get a real PCC team go out here putting Noct on that Countess jungle, because I mean we might be able to contend for some of these prize pools here going in one of these future tournaments. But nonetheless, you do agree with you. Noct out here playing one heck of a game, already starting off the game now with 3 kills. Wolfie got a little bit pushed up there, a little bit low health, but a good rotation from Appy Picker. But we still haven't seen too much out of this dual lane, or really anything after these big neutral objectives.
Right, it's kind of just revolved around where the junglers are going right now, which is a little bit to be expected. Toasty playing an incredibly difficult matchup trying to play a Grux support into an Argus support. You have to try to walk up on somebody as Grux, and how are you going to walk up on Argus with the Dread Nova, with the Crystal? Like, it's just so tough. So Toasty doing a good job of kind of leaving Labber alone, going around trying to get these angles. Eventually, they are going to start to connect. Besides the Gadget and potentially the Countess, if they get all of those stacks, the outscaling is in favor of Team Dawn for sure. Woofy is on the Sevarog, but Woofy is going to spend a lot of time in the current state that he's in while he's playing Sevarog, which is watching the rest of the team. So you can kind of take that out of the equation. Sorry, Woofy. I love you, buddy, but Appy's a different beast. NA West over PCC staff every time.
He's also playing Feng Mao, a little bit busted. You know, next patch should be a little bit fine-tuned down. Wolfie's still the GOAT. You gotta let him cook a little bit, you know? Sevarog's into that late game.
And he's playing from Denmark.
He is playing from Denmark. A little, about 300 ping, about 400, somewhere around there. We'll give him, give or take. So he's got to give him a little bit of time to get warm with the ping. I can definitely see Wolfie turn this game around in the mid-game.
I think he could too. Also, I just trust Labber. If Labber can do it with a tank, he can hold down his left mouse button on Sparrow and blow the whole team up. Positioning's not that hard for somebody at the skill level of Labber. I do think that Don's going to be able to turn this around, but boy, I'm just pulling for this PCC team really hard. I am going to mention, though, F6. We're at the 88-minute, 8:30 mark. Not even a single attempt at a Fangtooth yet. Do you think objectives just don't matter in the for fun Pride game?
I don't think it's more that it doesn't matter. I think it's a Countess jungle and an Iggy jungle. So they kind of have to look for a really good opportunity to really go after these objectives. And Grady right now, as you can see, is just farming his Obelisk stat to try and get that up. Because he has an order growth. Once he gets Obelisk, he's going to be a stacking machine.
I gotta bring something up, F6. It's very important. You know, we've got staff member playing in this game. We've always got staff members behind the scene that feeds casters like you and I stats during this. Team PCC already has more kills than Team Dusk had in Game 2 of the All-Star event. And I would just like to point that out. Whoopee!
My goodness! That is another tally because we're putting them on the board for a 4th time. Baby, look at that.
Whew, and Woofy comes in. I mean, Salsa ends up picking up anyways, but that Colossal Blow was going to secure that no matter what, and the Caster Curse comes true. They have attempted this Fangtooth. We might get the first one off the board. I will say one of the advantages that the Iggy Jungle has, you put those turrets down, you can kind of just shred these things if you can get the focus onto it. Toasty gonna blink in here, gonna start Gruxin onto him. Salsa seems to be the target, but 3 members are gonna turn it onto him. Should be able to take care of the Rhino pretty quickly. Salsa's gonna pick that kill up. Fangtooth goes over to Team PCC as well, but it's not over. Here comes Labber with the ult from the Sparrow, gonna knock one of them down, still firing, but he's gonna take a bit of CC, gonna have to flash away. Jay here with a little bit of backup himself, but Nocta's gonna flash forward. He does have the rewind on him, is gonna save him, but not from the enemy, or not from the rest of the enemies. Labber will take Secret Salsa down with him. Jay, the only one on this side of the map, as an Abby Picker is just kind of splitting on the other side, and Team PCC gets ahead after the first big collective team fight of the game, F6.
Gets the neutral objective. Oh my goodness, not the thing about the Earth Shatter. Yep, we knew that was coming, but guess what? Let's all reel it back in. Wolfie got a Colossal Blow into the mid lane, helped kill the Jay. Then they got over to the Fang Tube. So I'm going to be honest here, Wolfie did his part when it came to the neutral objectives. On Fortnite, Earth Shatter, press funny button, win game. But it's okay. PCC's still up 7-4, 1 neutral objective. I mean, they're still cooking. This Countess is going to be a hell of a menace into this late game.
Knocked with a nice sidestep on the smash and grab. HD Philly B here as well. Toasty a little out of position. Doesn't have the flash as he used it to engage into the Fangtooth pit. And Rhinos are endangered. Species Tricks, take it easy on him.
Yeah, and that's one less Rhino, so we're definitely have to go to call PETA over here because there's some animal abuse going on inside that jungle. But nonetheless, though, PCC up another kill. We're stacking these kills, we're stacking these bodies and letting them hit the floor for sure.
Oh, and hitting the floor, I gotta do some quick math. 12 of them have 11 minutes, 30 seconds into the game. Yeah, that's easy math. My bad, boys. Regardless, this has been an entertaining game so far. This is not what I expected. I was actually preparing something to mention the time that the Chefs beat a team in 15 minutes in a Swiss game that we didn't end up broadcasting. I was curious if Don was going to be able to do that to Team PC. The answer is definitely no.
No, I mean, I know we said we didn't put in all the hard hitters, right? But at the same time, it's PCC stuff, baby. We write the script, we run the games. Appy Picker actually looking to dive here and gets the kill, but oh my goodness, it's a 5-man rotation. Look at that Colossal Blow. Appy Picker has to use the Reaping Dash, but the rotation is here. That was almost a bad day for Appy Picker.
Almost, but a very decent shutdown. Very decent, I don't know if that's the right words. Whatever. A good shutdown for Appy Picker, being able to get Noctisera there, who has multiple assists, multiple kills at this point. You got to get that off the map. Maybe get yourself back in control of this game. It is starting to feel like Team Dawn is starting to get to where they need. There's Lobber picking up another kill. Got to be hard to play Decker ADC into a Sparrow. That can be fun.
I mean, yeah, she's 1v1, not going to have it there. But look at this. HD Philly trying to take this one-on-one with the Fang Mao. Not a good idea, but now it's a 2v1. Look at that gadget rotating from the mid. But Grady on the back end, look at this. The Earth Shatter smashes down and picks up the first kill. But here it is now a 2v2. One more Earth Shatter, not enough. But the hamstring, the Reaping Dash to get out. Now the re-engage. Can they clean it up? Gadget is still a little healthy. App Picker has to be careful. The hat is stuck. Going to use that shield. Going to have to try and fight through this. But the turrets, the hamstring, the damage is done.
I don't feel as great about that one. I love Secret Salsa. He's also an NA Wester as well. But Appy is just so impressive. Gets the 2v1 there. Able to take down both Philly and Woofy at that point. He is so far ahead. If we can get a check of what Appy's score is right now, I would appreciate that a bunch, Observer TDM. But this game now in favor of Dawn for the first time. They have taken the lead 9-8. They are still down one Fangtooth, but a little tough. Toasty gonna get the smash and grab in here. The ult immediately comes out of Lobber. Just gonna be able to walk around the cage. Trick's gonna die another time. That feels so bad. There's Appy, 6-0-1. Holy.
Yeah, look at that. I mean, he already has a perforator. Sev, not going to be too much of a problem. He's already going to be penetrating throughout that armor he's building right now. Mind Razor, exceptional item, give him that mana, getting that clear. Looks like he's building into that Envy, and he's got the Ortis. So he's looking to do some big damage here, stacking on everybody on this PCT team. But you got to say, though, Is PCC just letting them come back to try and make this game look even? That's the real question here.
I think this is a dangerous food to be toying with if that is what they are doing. I do know the egos on Team PCC are massive. Salsa's forehead is at least 6 or 7 inches. That guy's got such a big brain. Hard to sit behind him in a movie theater.
I mean, definitely. So you see it throughout his streams. The reason why his camera is so zoomed out is to definitely fit his forehead in there. But I believe in him. I mean, there's got to be something more in there than just space, you know?
There is. Architectural knowledge. Okay, Abby, going to dive back onto Woofy again, who's going to immediately use the Shadow Slip, get himself away. Does Abby even care that that turret is there? It looks like he does a little bit. Does have a 2-level lead on Woofy. We have the second Fangtooth has respawned at this point. Not taking a decent amount of damage. Going to go in. Going to have to back up immediately. Bunch of damage can come through with Wraith and a Sparrow there. Need to be careful about that. Appy told you he does not care that those towers are there. He doesn't care that the tier 2's there. He doesn't care the inhib's there. See Woofy, kill Woofy.
I mean, at this point, we just need to call him meta, because, I mean, why is he just tower diving? Instantly is the inhibitor, but hold on a second. Here's now we see that fight. The Tesla Dome is popped, but the big Grux is here, and Toasty's Gruxing, but look at that. Salsa's taking down bodies. Nox able to pick up a kill. On the back end, though, is now just left with Grux. Toasty is smashing and grabbing. He's swinging the axes, but it's not enough as her particle shredder, and the Trix comes on in to pick on up.
I want to say that I'm speechless, but I'm not when I look at the compositions of these teams. The team fight is definitely in favor of Team PCC just based off of who they have. Sure, they don't have a traditional ADC, but Trix is at least fulfilling the damage portion of that role, even if he's not traditional. They have a lot of CC, and basically Team Dawn has to walk at them, and if they don't have Abby Picker with them, there's nobody really to dive towards any of the key important members or to get out of that crowd control. So I think if they continue to fight and Abby's not a part of it, we're going to see this rinse and repeat out of Team PCC over and over again. The players on Team PCC are also able to identify that themselves, as every time they've gotten together and had a traditional team fight, like we saw at the first Fangtooth, like we just saw at that second Fangtooth, that's what's ended up happening in the long run. They look close in the end, but then the abilities come through, and Team PCC gets away with it. Again, 2 Fangtooth to nothing here.
I mean, they just got to fight for the third one, right? I mean, once you get that buff, that is a huge advantage going towards that late game, especially when we're talking about Sev and Countess, right? I mean, they're eventually going to get to that point. Abby Picker could only get so strong at one point. Yes, he has the orders to be able to allow him to stack up that power, but it's going to be bad. But look at HD Philly B. Where are you going, buddy? Rewind. Here you go. Hold the gray screen.
With a little bit of help from Prime? Okay, thank you, or Prime, for the little bit of assist there.
I mean,
what's he doing in the pit there? What? Huh?
I mean, he was probably just checking it out, trying to buy some new real estate. I mean, it is definitely prime real estate. As you can see, Team Dawn has picked on up. This is some good land to be at, but are they going to be able to secure it? They should be. And Abby Picker gets this mini or prime. Not going to be looking good for the side of PCC.
F6, I was trying to dig a drink and fix my throat during that. Hold on, we got a little bit of a fight. Noctisera ult comes out, but it's not enough to kill Jay. It is with the Mega Cosm tick, though. Goodbye.
Yeah, we are going to have to reevaluate the ranked game mode. I know a lot of these players are Paragon, essentially, quote unquote, but the way that the PCC team is taking these guys out back is absolutely insane.
I would like to say that I'm surprised, and I guess I am, but they are in their off lanes, and I do believe in Team Dawn still. I don't think that this one is quite over yet. I think when the 20-minute mark comes, it's going to be a big indication. Is pretty rough for Lobber here. I don't really know what you do into a Countess as a Sparrow, especially if you're alone, especially one that is 6, 1, and 7 at this point. So Noct kind of mirroring the pressure that Abby Picker is putting on, but doing a little bit better of a job as that traditional jungle role of joining his team, it feels like.
Yeah, and at this point, we're looking at the game, and it's Assassin versus Assassin. It's going to be between Noct and Feng Mao. And when it comes towards these team fights at the end game, it's going to be who can be able to assassinate more members of the opposite team than the other. And I think that's really what's going to come down to. I think PCC team has a chance to really do that. We know Feng Mao, though, is on the better end of being able to execute everybody with that Earth Shatter. I mean, it just allows him to get that reset to continue to do an immense amount of damage. And once you get in that threshold, you really can't box him out of it.
Right, and Noct can go in and only get one of these 100-0. Like, you can take Lobber out, but what are you going to do about Appy? What are you going to do about Grady as he's starting to build some damage? It looks like they are going to get a decent shot here onto Appy, but he is going to be able to go away and escape. Jay's going to pick up the kill onto Noctisera, so the strongest member of Team PCC is down for the next 35 seconds if Team Dawn decides to press onto this tier 2 tower. Wolfie
And
behind.
Wolfie goes in.
Oh,
Colossal blow
Colossal
does
blow.
hit into the Earth Crystal. It's not enough.
Right into the wall.
That wall did get a big Rhino smash, and it is hurting a little bit, but still able to escape. But they're coming back for more here.
Yeah, I don't think that this is quite over. Toasty very unafraid right now, just standing right on the opposite end of it. The subgate is down for a little bit here. Jay presses another minion wave in here. Hard for them to siege with the amount of lane clear that is coming out of Team PCC here. And we might finally get the reset. Noct has respawned, so we have been kind of in this position for over a minute at this point. I think it's about time they back off from it.
Yeah, I would agree. So, I mean, look at Appy though, level 15, 3 levels up on anybody, even including Noct, the one that we've been talking about, saying he's just have such a great momentum going into this game. But look at this, Appy 3 levels up is just going to be able to destroy him. Look at that hamstring, look at that. Oh, shit. Ah, my goodness, Appy.
I don't even know what to say about that. He just takes that blast cone, gets to him, pushes E, autos him, ults him, and the strongest member of Team PCC just insta-deleted. Gone from the map. See you in another 20 seconds, Noct.
Yeah, and here comes Toasty again, trying to lock down the gadget, but he's getting CC'd all over inside this mid lane, completely gone. Toasty, buddy.
Trying those new shoes with glue on the bottom of it.
Banging on hands and knees there, just sitting there for a prayer, pulling the Tim Tebow down there in front of that middle of the tier 2. But look at this, Appy. Gonna have some pressure in this right lane. Wolfie, no mana.
Wolfie, no mana, but HD Philly B is here in case Appy wants the smoke. Is going to use the Reaping Dash to get away, but they're going to flash forward onto it. The ult comes out from the Countess. Now Appy is going to blink away, has a massive bounty. He is 9-0-2. He's going to flash away, gets out of the range of the Particle Obliterator. Is he going to be able to go? Wolfie's still in hot pursuit. I do not believe you are going to catch a thing now, and Appy's going to survive. That's at least 750 gold just hanging by a couple of HP there.
Yeah, I thought I heard the Murdoch sirens there because the way that man got out of dodge, it was actually criminal. As he gets away from 3 ultimates, he just cannot be stopped right now, Lance.
He can't be, and that's one of the advantages of Fang Mao. He is very safe in when you are being pursued. And look, he's not even going to go back to his base. He's just going to turn around, 1-2, give him the hands, kill
Wolfie.
him. He doesn't even need to return to his base. Got 2,100 gold, was just 1 HP, decides, you know what, I'm going to turn around, chase these guys back. Lobber
I mean, look at Noct, though.
How this one went last time, fighting very well. The tables have turned. Lobber 1v1's not.
Lobber, we didn't know. I didn't know your game was this pristine. I didn't know you were Himothy like this. Lobber, my goodness, let not live.
I'm just saying, their PCC staff, Lobber was a PCC MVP, a finals MVP, and you know, that's the difference between talking about a game and playing a game.
I mean, game's been recognized game, Lance, and I agree with you. Lobber's got that game. I mean, he's got that dog in him too, and you can see there once again, as he pushes up towards the inhibitor Fearless, ultimate on cooldown, he just does not care at anything in this world.
Nice little CC's chain comes out from Secret Salsa and HD Philly B as they are able to pick up Jay, who was going a little bit of aggressive, didn't have the ward on the flank from the Argus there.
No, not at all. But I mean, look at this game though. The kill score is still pretty even, right? We know the real difference comes out when we're talking about the Feng Mao. He's really the only person that's on a different level right now between this whole game. But for everybody else, I mean, it's kind of there. It's kind of even, still able to fight these. And I mean, like I said, there's a bunch of late game into this team. The Sev is going to get a little bit stronger, but look at this in the mid lane. They're going to pick off.
Huge.
He has to get picked out, but the rotation, the Grok's pull, he's by himself, but Sev is looking low. Granny's trying to escape, and Sev, 1 HP is going to go down as Lobber rotates. Pops the ultimate. It's going to be able to destroy everybody in the back, but not trying to use the fancy feet, but it can't be undone. But the hat is going to be stuck on, and the Tates is on for Toasty here as he's running away. A little bit of movement speed there.
Ooh, Grady gonna get away with just a sliver of HP as he takes Tricks down on the other side of the fight as well. Looks like, Philly gonna get caught chasing the Grux, is able to get the Dread Nova, but it's not gonna be enough. The double knock's gonna kill him. Salsa hits the blind root. I guess Jay kind of walks into it, but regardless, he gets rooted while invisible. Salsa, I think you need to be a little... Yeah, I don't know if Jay wants to decide to fight this. I think I might drop if I'm Jay there. He doesn't. Salsa is pretty strong, has all of the core items that you really need on Gadget to have that huge impact.
I mean, Gadget does a lot of damage right now. If he gets trapped again, he's probably a little bit scared of that Tesla, though. You know, just a little bit. It still does a lot of damage. The hat does a lot of damage. And Salsa is kind of gaming right now. Not really doing too bad. Still kind of just being there, being able to do a lot of damage that he needs to, getting those picks.
He's 11-3.
Yeah.
That boy is gaming.
But it's Gadget. Come on now. Everybody holds a hat. Everybody holds a Tesla Dome and just disappears. You know, you gotta also put the character limits in there. We don't want to hype Salsa up too much. We already talked about his forehead.
I want to hype Salsa up that much. That's my boy. Anyways, does not matter. Salsa is gaming this game, but he's always gaming. We are getting to the point that this game actually is starting to look like it might be somewhat of a coin flip F6. We might need to start getting realistic about how Team PCC might be able to pull a win out of here. They did get that huge shutdown onto Appy. It did go over to their Gadget, who already had a lot of gold, but he is going to get blown up. He's going to get one of them back. Nox going to fall. They're going to trade two of the strongest heroes on both, but that's jungler for offlane, so the neutral objective control is on the side of Team Dawn as Grady survives.
Why is Feng Mao able to just use his ult again after getting outplayed? You know, that's my gripe, because that was just a great play right there by the PCC team. You know, they were gaming, and then Feng Mao just like, you know what? Give me a second. I'm going to reset here. Oh, yeah, there it is, and just pushes R again. You know, they almost got it there, but nonetheless, it was a great pick by Team Dawn to be able to get their jungler. They're not going to be able to use it. They're still stuck on this blue side of the PCC team, so they're not going after any objectives for this yet. And meanwhile, though, Team PCC trying to push down this T1, trying to get a little bit of economy going towards their way.
If anybody was wondering, Particle Shredder does not damage the turret.
True.
Anyways, we do have to start onto the Orb Prime, as it's going to be Team Dawn who are going to use the power of that Iggy jungle and just wear it down. You get 3 of those turrets down, and it's going to get deleted. 27 minutes, the first huge neutral objective of the game, taken for Team Dawn. Now it's dangerous. A little bit of a kill onto Jay, though, as they are trying to get out. Team PCC... Oh, actually, no, it's Jay who kills Noctisera on the way out. Appy's also going to get HD. Philly B on the other way, which means he's going to get Woofy, too. Actually, decent subjugate. Is Appy going to be able to catch him? Does have the Reaping Dash in probably 2 or 3 seconds. As of right now, that is a dead Woofy GG.
Yeah, he's definitely dead. Definitely going to catch his own soul. Has to think about that one. Meanwhile, Team Dawn looking at the Primordial Fangtooth. They have all the advantage in the world. Gadget, MIA, Decker, MIA. We don't know where they were in those fights, but nonetheless, Dawn's going to take advantage of this.
They're going to take advantage of it. Double buffed up on a Saturday afternoon. It's starting to look grim for Team PCC.
Yeah, I mean, not even Yogic Pants can contain these guys with these double buffs as they push towards the enemy core. These inhibitors are not going to last long. There's a T2 left in the mid. Feng Mao in the left lane. Tricks, I know you're the GOAT, but you probably don't want to fight this Feng Mao. You're pretty squishy here, but here comes the superhero Knot trying to persuade Appy Picker to get out of there, but he's not scared at all as now the siege is fully on.
And Appy with the big brain build picks the Mesmer up for that bubble, make it so Nox can't just jump to him. We do have a team fight busting out. So much of Team Dawn caught up in a huge CC chain. The Particle Obliterator is gonna pick Grady off in the end.
He missed the Earthshatter.
Being chased by Woofy, but Appy Picker is here and he's ready to fight. Toasty gonna have to flash away. They do have the health regen from it. Gonna take Woofy down as well. Only Secret Salsa stands for Team PCC. A lot of wave clear. Will he be able to stop the Orb Prime buffed up minions and 3 members of Team Dawn? They do only have 1 wave of super minions, so very likely Salsa's going to be able to stop this split push here.
I mean, he's secret salsa for a reason because he got that secret sauce. He's going to be able to defend here. I believe one minion wave coming in to push in, but like you said, the wave clear is there. One more hat. Appy Picker is down. The core is getting down to about 50%, but the wave's almost up. Toasty, hello, Appy's going to be low as well. Jay is low 20%. He's able to clean up shop. The blink salsa gets the hat on. Goodbye. See you later.
Oh, it's not over yet. Team PCC lives to fight another day. F6, it's looking harder and harder all of the time, but Salsa's a hero.
He got that sauce. I'm telling you, Secret Salsa with a big defense coming out. 2 inhibitors down, though. 1 is left. Appy Picker still up, and Wolfie might be caught out.
Wolfie might be caught out, but anytime Feng Mao is within eyesight of this Sevarog, he is basically caught out at this point. Actually, looks like he's going to turn his attention over to Noct. They're kind of looking at each other in the jungle. Still have the double buffs up for Appy. Probably about another minute or 2 on the Primordial Fangtooth. Maybe 30-40 seconds on the Orb Prime.
Lobber
getting a little silly here. You are not a tank, my friend, but it's okay. He takes HD Philly B with him, but I'm saying hashtag worth an alt chat if I am Team PCC there.
I mean, they took down one of the big damage dealers, right? Next is going to be getting down Appy Picker. 40 seconds, 50 seconds, actually, without Sparrow. That's a lot of damage in those team fights. So if they're able to pick off Appy Picker here, they might be able to turn some tides, maybe start to push these waves back, get ready, get set up for this big Orb Prime.
I don't think Appy has any interest in joining his team. I think Appy is going to stay in that lane until that inhib is fallen, which at this rate should be about by the time I end this sentence, as long as I keep it going long enough and don't get cursed into having to talk for a super long time. There it is.
And he's going to go down. A lot of ultimates picked off. Appy Picker still survive. No way. Oh, yes, there we go. Let's say this ball. Let's say this ball. Oh, my goodness. I was about to say, there's no way he gets another great escape. There's no way.
Great crowd control from the ADC for Team PCC there to hit the long-range stun, as all ADCs have in their kit in this game. And, not over yet. 3 inhibs down. Maybe the mid and left should be spawning maybe 35-40 seconds from now. A lot of defense, but they do have very good wave clear. They have the Argus, they have the Countess, they've got Gadget. Hell, they even have an ADC Decker who can lay down a little bit of wave clear. Wave, you know what I'm saying. You take the mic, F6. I can't talk for you.
I got you. Rewind's going to be able to hit and disappear on not goodbye. Why do you guys keep poking the fog wall? We've been over this. You watched enough PCC. Lawver presses the R button. Epoch is there, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Salsa, can he game? Can he do it? Oh, no, you can't. As Lawver takes down Secret Salsa almost with the schmooze.
Almost, but not quite enough. Didn't have the ability to put the Tesla Dome down before he pushed the Epoch on. Trick's going to be the next victim.
Oh, no.
Freddy adds an obelisk stack. It's going to be Woofy flashing back towards this fountain. Knows he is the last line of defense. Needs to make it at least 15 seconds. Colossal blows him back towards the core, and that is going to be the core falling. Actually, they're going to get one more kill onto Woofy just to rub a little bit of dirt in the wounds. Team Dawn, as expected, take down Team PCC, and the world cries.
We do shed a sad tear here, but I'm going to point out something here. All right, I just want everybody to be real. PCC team was a lot better in all 3 games in total, I think, going towards than the Dust team. So PCC team, great job. You guys had a hard fought, but it's okay because you guys did fantastic. We didn't expect you guys to come out and sweep, but the gameplay you guys showed us, I mean, just immaculate.
No cap, I think if they had Tang on their team, they may have been able to win that game. Team Dawn may have found Tang's Venmo, slid him a little bit for good seedings in Nations League, and to not participate in this game. That was a hell of a lot of fun. I want to thank everybody in the All-Star event for participating. The desk will go a little bit further into that. I got to take a special shout out here, be selfish for a second. It is my son's 5th birthday today. Happy birthday to Lance Jr. Put it in the chat for me, please. And F6, you got anything else?
I mean, other than add on to the wish Lance Jr., the little Lance himself, a big happy birthday from predecessor community to him. Hopefully he has a great day. He probably has one of the best dads in the world. So we're excited to have Lance here with us to be able to do that. But like he said, we thank you all. We thank the viewers. We thank the talent, the players. everybody all the way to Almeida to themselves for providing us this game, this platform. We can't do it without you guys. We do these events for you. Sometimes it's not going to be the big PCC matches where we go for a big prize pool. Sometimes it's just for fun. But we just kind of get off and just let some steam off. And this is what you guys are seeing here today.
Back to the desk.
But yeah, back to the desk.
Thank you so much, F6 and Lance. Happy birthday, Lance Jr., GG's PCC staff, and Team Dawn. Thank you all so much for playing. I gotta say, that was the best game of the day. Dr. Shadow and Robbie, what were the highlights from that last game?
That was, I called it before they started. That was certainly a game. We talked about some of the spicy picks in the draft, and we were not disappointed by some of the things that happened there. Tricks on that Decker ADC. He certainly did his best on a Decker. But Woofy, in Woofy we trust. I trusted him, and he still didn't have full stacks at 35 minutes, unfortunately. But he had some sick plays. He had some sick plays. I'm not flaming. No flame. But he just needs to hit creeps a little bit better. And then I think Team PCC could have taken it.
Yeah, I thought that was a really good game. I think they gave it a really great shot. I wasn't expecting it to go that well for them, so congratulations to them. I thought they put up a really good fight. I'm gonna say the stacks was maybe a replay bug to work in his favor, but I think they did great. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, it was a great performance from both teams.
It was so much fun. We gotta hand it over to our PCC staff. GG's all around, especially to Team Dawn. Congratulations as well for being the first ever winner of our first ever All-Stars event here at the PCC. Shout out again to our staff and the players who participated. I hope everybody enjoyed the broadcast and the production today. Thank you everybody for being a part of the PCC. This was our first ever All-Stars event, and it would not have been possible without the players who dedicate themselves to the game and playing Predecessor. And of course, we would like to thank our staff from production, administration, as well as the desk. We would also like to thank you, who is a part of the community. We love Predecessor so much. If you're enjoying the broadcast, please give us a follow, a subscription for September, and stay updated with all of our social medias. Lastly, we have to say thank you to RGS Ace for joining us here at the PCC desk at our All-Stars event. But we have to conduct a little interview before we have to say goodbye with Robbie. Shadow and I will be taking turns asking a few questions. Robbie, I'll start us off. My first question is, what made you decide I want to help remake Paragon, and what mindset did you have to make it happen and say, let's recreate this game and make it our own?
To be honest, it was just the passion that the community had for the game, for Paragon, and obviously with my YouTube channel, when I saw the comments that people were writing, and then on Discord as well, and then on Twitch, I was like, oh, there's definitely something special here. There's this really great community and something that we all really love, and so that was really the thing that drove me to wanting to recreate that feeling. I don't necessarily, when I started, I don't know if it was necessarily like, oh, we want to recreate Paragon or what. We were just like, we want to recreate this feeling of like having a community, giving them a home. And from there, it just kind of one thing led to the next.
Awesome. As a member of our community, and I've seen a couple of your streams, I know that you play the game that you've helped create, but out of all of the characters that we have, tell us who your favorite character is and why they're your favorite.
I think maybe I always say this, but the next character that you guys saw in the Gamescom trailer is my favorite character. She's pretty awesome. Yeah, she's a lot of fun. I won't say why because I don't want to reveal too much about her, but she's very unique. If you say, hey, you have to pick a hero that's currently out, I'm really enjoying Zinx because I feel like Zinx you can play in a few roles. So I've been playing her mid. I've tried her off lane as well. I don't really enjoy support, but the fact that she can kind of play in all three roles pretty well is nice. And then if you're playing with your friend on comms, the revive is like super nice because you guys can make some really cool plays. So I've been enjoying Zinx a lot.
Awesome.
Looking forward to that new hero, and yeah, Zinx is a lot of fun to play. My last question is, how does it feel to be CEO of Omega Studios and to play such a huge role in Predecessor?
It feels normal, I guess, because you don't really like. I think when things happen to you, you don't really realize that.
It feels normal.
Yeah, like to me, I'm just me, right? So it doesn't really feel different to me. It feels really cool that like so many people love the game and I get to interact with people, but it doesn't really feel like I'm the CEO of this company. You know, when I think about CEOs, like it feels very different. So it just kind of felt normal to me, but it's like an incredible journey. It's like a blessing, and I enjoy it. I know the team love it. So yeah, really glad to be a part of this community and kind of pushing the game forward.
As the CEO, you have a certain level of sway over what your developers do to the game. Can you tell us, the community, something that you personally, like, separate yourself as just a player of the game? What is something you want added to the game?
This is quite timely because we're going through a list of like, what is the craziest things we could add to the game? But I think in the short term, I think it would be cool to add like portals or teleporting, like some way to teleport on like any hero. Because for me, I think that would just change the way the game's played. I don't think that's the craziest thing I've come up with, but I think that would be pretty fun. Is there something that you guys would add?
We do have one more. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Shadow.
No, I'm trying to think about something that I'd want added. I think a teleport would be a really, really cool feature, like getting out to towers faster or having like being able to bring your team somewhere all together.
Yeah, kind of like just imagine all 5 of your team teleporting like behind the enemy or something. Like, of course you'd have to balance it, but those things were really fun to me when in other games. So I think it'd be cool to try it out in Predecessor.
Yeah, I don't really have like anything that I would want to add. I would have to.
So you're saying our game is perfect? It's perfect.
It's perfect. It's perfect the way it is. But we do have one last question, last minute question. How does esports play in the future of Predecessor?
Oh, that's a good question. I think, firstly, we're obviously super supportive of esports, of the community events. Obviously, I'm here and we really enjoy watching them. So we definitely want to continue to support that. I think we don't have a kind of definitive answer of like what it looks like, but we're always trying to think of better ways to support it, maybe integrating it into the game and just being more involved with the community on the esports side of things. Ultimately, you know, players who want to compete, that's really on the players. Like, if people want to compete, we're here to kind of facilitate that the same way you guys kind of do your tournaments. And hopefully kind of towards the end of this year and next year, we just get more and more involved with that.
Thank you so much for being here, Robbie, and taking time out of your day to join us here at the PCC. I hope you had fun, just like us, watching these games and being a part of the broadcast and the production. Shadow, any last words to our CEO? Hashtag my CEO.
He's my CEO. I mean, thank you for being here. I know it's a huge boost to the community morale as well, just having your support from your team. I know a lot of your staff members play in a lot of these tournaments as well, so it's always cool to see, you know, all of you guys in the same place saying, "Let's do it. Let's make this a thing." So I speak for myself, but also a lot of our colleagues here. Like, we are here to help make this game succeed. So, thank you.
Oh, well, thank you guys. And I really appreciate your support and all the effort that goes into making this. I know it's not easy. And thank you guys for having me on. It was, I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. So hopefully we can do this in the future too. Yeah. So thanks to everyone at the PCC and thanks to everyone in the community. It's really fun.
Looking forward to it. So Shadow, any last parting words before we have to say goodbye to you as well?
Well, I guess really, I just want to shout out the Melvins. I know some of the Melvins are in stream, so rise up and say hello. I don't personally stream, but it's a streamer whose community I think is really cool. I just want to call out Grizzly Gaming. He's been doing a subathon for the last 60 hours or something. He's going to die soon, so go give him support and tell him hello. He's the most positive force in this community that I've been able to find so far. So I encourage everybody to go check out his stream and hang out.
Yeah, he's such a fun guy to watch, all the way from South Africa.
Yeah.
But as well, Robbie, any last words before we have to say goodbye to you?
Just a big thank you to everyone. Thank you to you guys, everyone at the PCC who makes this possible. These events are super fun. Even when I'm just watching them and not kind of at the desk, it's really fun. Me and my brother watch them on our TV, and I know like Shadow said, some of the guys at the studio, they also play in the matches too. So we all really enjoy it as a company, and so really appreciate you guys putting in the hard work to do this. So thank you guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you everybody yet again for joining us. If you like what you're seeing, please give us a follow, give us a subscription. We're on YouTube, X, all of the social medias you can think of. Thank you yet again for joining us here at our first ever PCC All-Stars event. This is R-Dog with the Triple G signing out, saying goodbye with Dr. Shadow and the RGSAs.